Now, Amy Markscore's Chris Ranji on KMOX.
And a very good morning to you, friends. It is Tuesday, July 2nd. Hope
Yes.
your day is splendid.
Yes.
Even though the weather is going to suck worse than yesterday. Yesterday was perfect.
It was perfect.
Today's going to be up to 95 degrees. So back to that typical St. Louis summer thing that we do here. I've got John Hancock hanging out with me today. Chris Ranji. Amy Markscore's is out. She is on vacation. Where is she? In Uruguay?
Is that
where
right?
she is?
Uruguay.
Okay.
That's who beat the soccer team last night.
That's why they lost, because she's
there.
That's right.
In Uruguay.
314-436-7900 is our phone number to call and text. The voicemail line is 944-1120. We're on social media. Did you know that? At Chris Amy KMOX.
Yeah. Does Uruguay have 3 U's in it? I think it does.
It sure does.
That's remarkable. I bet it's the only country in the world that's got 3 U's in it.
No E's?
That's right.
And there's no I in Uruguay.
There's no I in team either, Ron.
So tell that to the men's national team. What are they doing? So the phone number, you got it at Chris Amy KMOX for Twitter, where you can watch us live if you want to. You can watch us on Facebook and YouTube as well. And we want you to download the free Odyssey app and carry us wherever you go.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everybody will be talking about.
Yesterday's monumental decision by the Supreme Court to grant presidential immunity, absolute presidential immunity, still is the topic of discussion today after people have had some time to digest it.
And Chaminade graduate and Boston Celtics forward Jason Tatum has agreed to the largest contract in NBA history, 5 years, $314 million.
I have to believe that 314 is totally intentional. The Cardinals will take on the Pirates, a series that begins tonight. 5:40 is the first pitch. Well, the pregame show at 4:45 today.
The presidency is the most powerful office in the world. It's an office that not only tests your judgment, perhaps even more importantly, it's an office that can test your character. Because you not only face moments when you need the courage to exercise the full power of the presidency, you also face moments where you need the wisdom to respect the limits of the power of the office of the presidency. This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States.
So with that is President Joe Biden yesterday, who gave a speech of about 4 or 5 minutes addressing the Supreme Court decision to grant absolute immunity for official duties of the president, but not unofficial duties. I would say to say the least, it is still true today. We talked about it quite a bit yesterday because we got the ruling right before the show started. To say the least, I think that ruling has created a lot of confusion and a lot of concern about what a president ultimately can and will be able to get away with, not just now, but in the future. And I guess you could throw in the past actions as well, because former President Trump is facing a lot of legal action right now. So it's not just about that. It's not just about what the outcome of those cases and those trials are going to be. It's about what happens moving forward. And still, after having some time to consume the ruling, there just isn't a whole lot of clarity today.
No, a lot more questions than answers in that majority opinion. It is true that a president can be prosecuted even after this ruling, but it is also true that doing so is going to be much more arduous. And it's this whole breakdown between official and unofficial acts is not really clarified. There's a little bit of guidance given by John Roberts in his ruling, but it requires application of those guidelines into the specifics of any case. And the one that's directly in front of us is the January 6th indictment by Special Prosecutor Jack Smith. And that case is going to have to be remanded back to court. There's a process under the Supreme Court that's going to take several days before that ruling is, quote, transmitted. And then the judge is going to have to schedule a hearing, an evidentiary hearing, to make a determination as to whether the the USA can bring the particular charges against Donald Trump, and what evidence will be allowed under the Supreme Court ruling. So, there's an argument to be made that if you're using Donald Trump's tweets as evidence, that those tweets constitute official presidential communications. Certainly how they're treated in the White House. As in the old days, they'd put out a press release. That was an official communication. Well, these tweets, you can argue, were official acts of the president. So probably, those can't be used as evidence in this case. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I was surprised by the court's decision. Once I had a chance to digest it after the show yesterday, I would have thought that the court would have erred on the side of making the president more accountable than less accountable. Just based on the constitutional guidelines, the president must faithfully execute the laws. That's in the Constitution. Presidential immunity is not in the Constitution. So I was surprised by the ruling by a conservative court.
Well, and I would also think that unless you are a Trump is everything to you, I would think that's what you as a citizen would want too. Why would you want President Biden to have those powers?
Precisely.
Would you want Barack Obama to have had those powers, that he can get away with whatever he wants because he can claim official immunity? And do you want that for any Democratic president moving forward who decides to take advantage of it? If you're on the other side of the aisle. So unless you are just a pro-Trump, he is everything to me, and I love that man, and I want nothing bad to happen to him, why would you be okay with this ruling?
I think the precedent of this thing is concerning, and it's forward looking. So presidents are going to potentially press the boundaries of this decision. They may still get themselves in hot water. Now, I don't think it's as draconian as the dissent by Sotomayor. I mean, I don't believe a court anywhere in this country is going to say it's okay for the president to go execute his political enemies, right?
What if it's somebody he's appointed?
And he executes them?
No. I mean, that ends up seeing the case.
Well, I mean, that's going to, and that, of course, is if you believe the justice system works that way, and sometimes I suppose it does, but that's a problem. That's not just a Trump issue. That's an issue for all future presidents of the United States. So this was a much bigger decision than I expected to see, and it was taken in a direction I didn't expect it to go. But here we are.
We talked about this yesterday, and we all the possibilities that could happen, what a president could do and get away with, and could he order a hit by using the SEAL Team 6 or whatever, and that has been floated out there. Even Sotomayor put that in her dissent.
Yeah.
So it's not, at least in her opinion, that is not an outrageous possibility, at least to her. And I figure a lot of other people believe that is totally plausible now, that could happen. We said, well, we hope that doesn't happen. And that's where I get concerned, because it to me, I don't like the idea of having to say, well, I mean, I don't think it will happen. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that a president doesn't try to do that. If Donald Trump gets elected again, I hope he doesn't try to assassinate a political opponent. But that's the problem, is that we don't know for absolute certain that won't happen, and then he'll be protected from it.
Yeah. Now, I will say, evidence gets thrown out of trials every day in this country for a host of reasons, and defendants in America are treated more fairly than most, if not all, other countries in the world. And there does need to be some prudence in how you allow prosecutors to go after political figures. But I think the sweeping nature of this ruling was a surprise to me, and I don't think is in the long-term best interest of the country. We've already got an executive branch, in my opinion, that has way too much power. And that was, if nothing else, that was exacerbated yesterday by that ruling.
Yeah, and we were talking about this in the office today. Even Justice Kavanaugh, during his confirmation in 2018, argued the exact opposite of what he ruled yesterday. or what the majority ruled yesterday, that a president does not have immunity. He said that.
He said they're not above the law, and almost, if not all.
Well, isn't that what that means?
You can certainly make that case. But every one of these justices were asked during their confirmation, is the president of the United States above the law? There is a school of thought in conservative jurisprudence that the president is special and deserves special protections and more expansive powers. That does exist. I didn't think it was the predominant view. And but here we are. Now, there is one unintended effect of this. So once the decision is remanded back to Judge Tanya Chutkan in Washington, D.C., she is now ordered essentially by the Supreme Court to hold an evidentiary hearing to determine whether the former president, can be prosecuted over things, and what is and what is not an official act in the Jack Smith documents. And in the process of doing that and holding that hearing, Smith is going to be able to call all of his witnesses. It's not the trial, but he's basically, if there's anything that we don't know that he has, and that's usually the case with the prosecution, we're going to find out about it. And so I am somewhat heartened by that fact that at least the case that's there is going to be out in the public likely before the presidential election.
That's John Hancock. I'm Chris Ranji. We want your thoughts too. 314-436-7900 to call us or to send us a text message. We're back in a moment on KMOX.
Celebrate July 4th with savings at Lowe's. For a limited time, save on the essentials you need to make your garden pop for summer, like Miracle-Gro 25-quart potting mix. Get 2 bags for just $16. And get up to 40% off, plus save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances. Hurry, these deals won't last long, because Lowe's knows summer savings. Valid through 7/10. Miracle-Gro excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount, excluding supply. See Lowe's.com for more details. While supplies last.
What's wrong?
My travel rewards card didn't earn enough miles for my vacation.
Are you crying? Are you crying because of that other credit card?
Uh-huh.
Well, switch to the Capital One Venture card. Venture lets you redeem miles on any travel purchase.
Really?
Yep, and you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every single day. The Capital One Venture card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Attention talcum powder users. Have you had ovarian or gynecological cancer? A proposed $8 billion plan will pay those who believe they got sick from using talc products, like Johnson's Baby Powder and Shower to Shower. Johnson & Johnson maintains its products are safe. You have until July 26, 2024 to vote to accept or reject the plan. For more information, visit officialtalclaims.com or call 888-431-4056. Paid for by LLT Management, LLC.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds, which could be life-changing. I mean, you could put that money towards concert tickets for your daughter to see that singer who sings about painful breakups. And one song will inspire your little beauty to break up with that beast she's dating, Brian. Instead, she'll date someone who's nice and worthy of her love, not someone who addresses you and your spouse as bro. And it's all because you could save money switching at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty reminding you why pay more than $4. In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many markets' ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today, 314-441-4444. 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than $4?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-578-2415. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-578-2415 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. That's 800-578-2415. To see if you qualify. That's 800-578-2415.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from thegelmanteam.com. If you want immediate cash for your home or to see what your home is actually worth in today's market, find out for free from the local experts. That's my friends Mark and Neil Gelman at thegelmanteam.com.
In the know, on the go. Trust KMOX for local news that impacts St. Louis and the region. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
John Hancock is in for Amy Mark's course today. I'm Chris Ranji. The number to visit with us, 314-436-7900. The decision yesterday by the Supreme Court on the presidential immunity is still a major topic of discussion, and I imagine it's going to be for a while as people try to parse out exactly what happened and what it means moving forward. A number of text messages have come in. One of them says, I called in, was trying to speak to you. You keep referring to, would we want the Democrats to be able to do this regarding a Democrat president? I think it is crazy. Any president, Republican, Democrat, or independent, is above the law. They actually should be held to a higher standard than all of us. That's from a 314. I mean, that's to me, again, I have to believe that's how most people feel. The vast majority of Americans must feel that way, right?
Yes. And, I think the founders would have felt that way as well. I mean, the whole point of they were very careful when they created the office of the president. And there was certainly a school of thought, Alexander Hamilton, who thought the president should have more authority, be more like a monarch. And that was a school of thought that existed there. But the founders, and certainly the Jeffersonians among them, were very careful to create a chief executive whose powers were checked and balanced accordingly, recognizing that the human nature is such that you're going to grab and seize as much power as you possibly can. And they wanted that power to be checked. So this ruling yesterday, what's inarguable, you can argue about whether the president's above the law after this, but what's inarguable is that the office of the presidency has been strengthened as a result of this ruling.
Voicemails are welcome. 314-944-1120.
Hi, this is Sam. I just wanted to say that if the Supreme Court wants to be that criminal, then President Biden should just go ahead and elect to throw Trump in jail, pending firing squad for being a traitor. Thank you.
Well, first of all, there are a lot of people who already believe that Biden has all of these lawsuits and the investigations by the Department of Justice. There are people who truly believe, and it's coming from him because he keeps saying it. And then, his Republican colleagues are saying the same thing, that this is Biden weaponizing the DOJ against a political opponent, which is nonsense. That's not what's going on. He is operating independent of the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice is investigating his son. So if he had full control of them, I don't think that would be happening. But there are a lot of people, John, who believe that's what's going on.
Well, look, if there's a special counsel appointed, it is the government coming after you. I mean, that's a big deal. And it doesn't matter who you are. I think Bill Clinton probably thought the Justice Department was coming after him when they appointed the special counsel back in the 1990s. Certainly, Jack Smith is going after Donald Trump. I mean, that's true. That's what special counsels do. They get in there, they uncover stuff. They've got basically an unlimited budget. Now, if we decide as a country that that's not a good idea to have special counsels, well, Congress needs to figure that out. But right now, under the law, yeah, a special counsel inherently means the government's coming after you, and that's just the way it is.
A text message to us says, Obama drone killed an American citizen. Can you comment? And that's from a 314 area code. First of all, I hear that one a lot in response to president should not be above the law. He had been sued multiple times by the ACLU. That was a terror operation.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
Which is a little bit different than, I'm not saying it's good or excusable. First of all, I don't believe that most people who use that argument even care. I don't think they really care about anything that happens in Yemen. I just don't. But I believe that if a crime is committed, any president, Obama, Bush, doesn't matter if they've been out of office for 10 years, 15 or 20, and it's still within the statute, they should be somebody should go after them for it. But I do think there's a difference between a terror operation that kills innocent people and killing a political opponent because they're opposing you. There's a difference.
And you could make an argument, given the Obama case example, that's what the Supreme Court was trying to get at by saying you can't go after them for official acts. That was a presidential directive. They were going to execute that military operation. The president gave the okay, and the court would say he can't be indicted over that, even though an American was killed or civilians were killed for that matter.
Yeah. And by the way, there was another drone operation that happened a few years later, and that young boy, the 16-year-old, his 8-year-old sister was killed. Donald Trump was the president when that happened.
I mean, so I do understand the notion that you can't just go after official acts of the president and prosecute him over them. But that's very clearly an official act, authorizing a strike, a military strike. Where it gets gray, and where I don't think the court's given us much guidance here, is where does that line get drawn between an official act and an unofficial act?
Right.
And they gave some guidelines in the 100 and some page ruling, but it's no more clear to me now than it was when I heard it yesterday, and I've gotten to read it at this point.
We do have a professor of law and history from St. Louis University who's going to be joining us in studio. Anders Walker will be coming in to talk with us, and he'll give us his thoughts on this ruling yesterday, what it means moving forward, and whether or not we should be concerned by it. I think that most of America today is, at least if they've been paying attention at all, a little concerned about what this could mean and what powers the presidency does have. And like you said, John, and I don't think this can be reiterated enough, the president should probably have less power than he has now, not more of it. And what this ruling has done is, as you said, given him more power.
And
that's any president.
That's inarguable. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here you can argue about and you can differ, but the bottom line is that we have strengthened the executive branch. And if you look at how Congress has been degraded over the past decades and ceded power to the executive branch, that's not healthy.
All right, an expert's coming in to talk to us. He'll tell us what he thinks. It's Anders Walker, professor of law and history at St. Louis University, coming in studio next on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Today, we're constantly taking photos and videos to remember our favorite moments. But what about those captured before the smartphone? What about the memories tucked away on aging VHS tapes, film reels, or in fading photos?
These cherished memories are fading away with time, vulnerable to threats like heat, moisture, and mold. But fear not, there's a solution to safeguard your legacy. Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Nick. Together, we founded Legacy Box over a decade ago with one mission: to bring your memories into the 21st century.
It's time to bid farewell to old tapes you can't watch and faded photos. Legacy Box transforms them into digital treasures, ready to share with a click.
Just like magic, your shoebox of memories is now safely stored in the cloud or on a thumb drive.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box, so you can rest assured your priceless moments are in good hands.
Don't let your childhood fade away on old tapes. It's time to digitize those priceless moments.
Fast forward into the digital age. Visit legacybox.com/value and unlock 50% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value.
Is your old garage door a real clunker? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your clunkers now. They'll haul away your old garage door and give you instant credit towards the new insulated door. $200 for the first garage door and $100 for each additional door. Cash in your old opener too. It's cash for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Convenient, free in-home estimates. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200.
We all know baseball is a long season. I'm Brett Boone from the Brett Boone Podcast. This summer, take a trip down memory lane with me and hear from the legends of the game. So far this year, I've had conversations with Randy Johnson, Pete Rose, Deion Sanders. Plus, every week we look at the state of Major League Baseball, which teams are exceeding expectations, which ones are struggling to meet them. Follow and listen to the Brett Boone Podcast on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
30 sun and 79 downtown at the Arch. And here's what we're following. We just saw massive crowds for the U.S. Olympic swimming trials in Indianapolis. That was an event that St. Louis tried to land. Now there's a new $500,000 backstop fund that's been created to help bring big sporting events to the St. Louis metro area from the St. Louis Sports Commission. And we'll get more on that coming up in the news at 11 o'clock. There's some road work on 44 East before Six Flags. It's got the right lane closed. We've also got road work on 55 South at Lindbergh. That's got the left lane closed there. Weather is sponsored by GL International Realty. Sell your home with trust, confidence, and written guarantees. Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty is St. Louis's real estate expert. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. This afternoon's high 94. For tonight, more humidity with a thunderstorm late. Low 79. For tomorrow, warm, humid, heavy thunderstorm with a high of about 90. Right now, sun 79 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underline Three Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Tune in to the Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Mosby Building Arts, Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX for expert advice on remodeling, design, and construction. This live Q&A show begins at 11 a.m. or find podcasts at mosbybuildingarts.com.
At Odyssey, we believe in casting a wide net to create a diverse and inclusive workforce, as we value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be directly notified of our open positions. Again, that's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for our listeners, we invite you to visit odysseyinc.com/careers. There, you'll find an online listing of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming and stressful, especially with challenges like record inflation, rising interest rates, potential recessions, and the uncertain future of Social Security. These factors can significantly impact your life savings. So, what steps are you taking to help preserve your financial future? Join the All Financial Group at their office Thursday, July 18th for an informative presentation. Their goal? To help you gain valuable tools, insights, and proven strategies to make informed decisions about your retirement planning.
Now, I've got a list of roadblocks that I have people ask me about on a regular basis. Inflation, taxes, what's going on with the election.
Seats are limited, so registration is required. Call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or visit yourmoneymattersstl.com to secure your spot. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
With the new year, it's time to make sure you have the best vision for 2024. That means scheduling your annual eye exam with Ophthalmology Associates. Call 314-966-5000.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
For everything St. Louis Cardinals, it's Cardinals Conversations. Use the Odyssey app or hear it on your favorite podcast platform. From game analysis, player and management interviews, it's exclusive Cardinals content from KMOX Sports, where the Redbird talk never stops.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
Transforming airwaves into an engaging playground of ideas and entertainment. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
John Hancock and Chris Ranji today on KMOX as we discuss the Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity that came down yesterday. And to do that with us, we wanted to get somebody who knows what they're talking about. So Anders Walker is a Lilly Myers professor of law and history at St. Louis University and is with us now. Dr. Walker, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
So just your initial thoughts on the ruling itself. It seems to have created quite a bit of consternation with people who are looking back at it today.
Well, I don't think it's too surprising. The court basically said that the president has some immunity from criminal prosecution.
So is it a good ruling or is it not? Because there are a lot of people today who are fearful of it. Others are not. Others think that it is a good ruling, but there does seem to be quite a bit of concern about what it means moving forward.
Well, so the court says, for example, the president's core jobs in the Constitution cannot be grounds for criminal prosecution. So anything that the president is doing officially, for example, making decisions as commander-in-chief, cannot be grounds for criminal prosecution. Imagine otherwise if you could prosecute a president for declaring war and you could drag them into court. That could happen to someone like George Bush for the Iraq War. It could have happened to Lyndon Johnson for the Vietnam War. The court says all that is off the table. You cannot prosecute a president for conducting his or her official duties.
Yeah, and the underlying basis, because there's nothing in the Constitution, there's this limited immunity for the speech and debate clause that's in the Constitution that applying to Congress. Presidential immunity is not in the Constitution. So what was the basis on which the majority reached this idea that the president is immune from prosecution?
Well, the idea is the separation of powers, that the president's office is a special office that is granted a lot of discretion to promote the interests of the republic and to allow the judiciary to invade the executive branch by dragging the president into court would be a violation of the Constitution.
So, as I said, there is confusion now because it will be up to individual courts, hypothetically in the future, if something does happen again, or these court cases that former President Trump is still involved in, where now there will have to be decisions made. Was this an official act? Was this unofficial? And maybe those lines are a bit blurred. Do you think they are as blurry as some people believe they are?
Well, so this is now going to be the big question. What is an unofficial act? The court said that speaking with your attorney general is an official act. Speaking with your vice president's an official act. Maybe speaking to state governors and people in Georgia and Pennsylvania could be an official act. And then the court's left open what is an unofficial act. Maybe having a liaison with an intern.
Right. Now we've been there. Yeah, and so the core functions of the president have complete immunity.
Correct.
The official acts have presumptive immunity under this ruling.
Right.
Which means that the standard that a prosecutor would have to meet in order to bring charges on an official act is very high. Is that the bottom line?
That's right. This makes it much harder to do what is happening all over the place now.
And then the evidentiary standard that was introduced and not concurred with by Justice Barrett, where using evidence from an official act is not admissible for a prosecution. That seems to me like that could be pretty murky, troublesome.
Right. You mean the president's intent?
Yeah.
Cannot be inquired into. That's right. The president may have a malevolent intent. That's irrelevant.
But it's irrelevant if they, say in a speech says that this is what I want to do, and they can't, I want to arrest this guy or have this guy taken out, and he says it in an official speech by a president. That cannot be used now as evidence against him.
Maybe not.
Yeah, it's presumptive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I don't know. It seems like the door is open for some really bad stuff moving forward. So, just in terms of Supreme Court rulings in general. So you've got the actual ruling, what was decided yesterday. Then you have what's written in dissents. Can moving forward, in a separate trial, a different case of 5-10 years from now, can an attorney use an argument made in a dissent? Do you know what I mean? Like, so can somebody look at Sotomayor's dissent and say, well, I know what the Supreme Court ruled, but there's this in this dissent. Does that give him any backing?
Only if the court is realigned. So let's say Democrats win, Alito, Thomas have a heart attack. They get 2-3 justices on the court. Then a future court could take that dissent and say, this was correct. We're going to throw the current opinion out. And
that's essentially what happened in the Dobbs decision.
Exactly.
Yeah. But for the near future, this is the precedent that the court has set. And under stare decisis, it's going to be given a lot of heft going forward, but it's not sacrosanct. It could be overturned. Did the court miss an opportunity to more tightly define the difference between official act and unofficial act? Or do you think they left that intentionally murky so that cases would have to be individually adjudicated?
I think the court left it murky intentionally. This is going to take a long time to litigate. I think the court wants the election to happen before any more of these criminal prosecutions are.
Well, they got that. That certainly that objective was met.
And I think what happened in New York is definitely on their mind. I think they saw that as a vengeful prosecution of a former president for political purposes.
How do you know when a decision by the Supreme Court is strictly made by the book or is politically motivated, and then those justices have kind of molded the law into the conclusion they wanted to reach anyway?
Well, that's a good question. It's a very political branch. The justices are all politically connected. That's how they got on the court. And that's part of their job, is they were appointed. And so they're carrying out their vision, their views of the Constitution, and they have absolute discretion to decide what that is.
Would somebody who is, because I've heard this debated over the course of the last 24 hours, a strict constructionist, or somebody that approaches jurisprudence from that point of view, is this decision, is this ruling consistent with that view of jurisprudence?
Well, so Justice Sotomayor, in her fiery dissent, actually used one of Alito's lines in Dobbs, which is, there's no history or tradition of presidential immunity. So that's her using her interpretation of originalism against the court's interpretation of what Madison originally wanted. And so it's entirely up to them.
Well, what you have heard over the last, I would say, couple of years since former President Trump was allowed to bring in his own justices, and he was allowed to pick 3 of them. You have seen arguments from the left that there should be more justices on the Supreme Court, that nothing prevents them from adding to the 9, that they could have 12 if they wanted to have 12 Supreme Court justices. Is that ever a real likelihood?
It's possible. You'd have to have a president and a Congress behind it.
Yeah, because the number of justices is not set in the Constitution, and we've had other numbers than 9 in our history. But it would take an act of Congress signed into law by the president to do that. Franklin Roosevelt tried to remind us about the court packing plan under Roosevelt.
Well, Roosevelt threatened to do it. It actually happened during Reconstruction when Republicans in Congress wanted to make it very difficult for President Andrew Johnson, who favored the South, to appoint justices that believed in his views. And so they actually reduced the number of justices on the court to kneecap him.
I can't imagine that would, I don't know, with the political environment the way it is now, that just seems totally unlikely to happen anytime soon.
Sure, you'd have to have 60 senators of
Yeah.
one party and a majority of the House in the White House.
Will we ever get 60 senators on
Good.
one side?
Good.
That's kind of what I'm wondering here. So as you look at this ruling, I know we sort of talked about it at the beginning. You don't have the concern about what it means moving forward that maybe some people have, or do you?
No, I think the court is trying to stop what it is more worried about, which is the use of the criminal justice system to target unpopular figures, presidents. I think these multiple prosecutions against the president have got the court worried that this is going to have a chilling effect on anyone going forward in the future. And certainly if the president has core constitutional jobs like national security, they may make decisions that in retrospect, if you do some Monday morning quarterbacking, look terrible and could be grounds for prosecution. The court says, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, one of the things that is going to happen as a result of this is the case gets remanded back to Judge Chutkan. She's going to have an evidentiary hearing to determine whether or not these charges brought are part of official duties, unofficial duties, so forth. That process, which could begin as early as this fall, could result in Jack Smith basically trotting out all of his witnesses, right? Not having a criminal trial, but basically laying his cards on the table. Is that likely?
Well, Smith seems to be all in on this. If Trump wins, then I think the appropriate avenue for dealing with all this would be impeachment. And then we can have another impeachment trial where the Democrats wheel out all their evidence. I mean, how many impeachments did we have during the administration? Two. That, I think, is what happens after November.
Last question I have for you, and this is actually from a listener who wants to know if these authorities trickle down to vice president. They don't, right? This is very specific to the president.
That's right. It's the president who gets immunity. Now, the president's communications with the vice president are protected under executive privilege.
Dr. Anders Walker, we appreciate the information. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Dr. Anders Walker, Lily Myers Professor of Law and History at St. Louis University. It's John Hancock and Chris Ranji on KMOX.
La 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 la.
Oops. Ever had your singing lessons cut short by icy water?
Oh, I'm sorry, honey.
Say goodbye to those cold notes with Navien tankless water heaters. With Navien, you'll hit all the right notes without the surprise chill. So keep singing and let Navien keep the hot water flowing. And get ready for the encore when you get your utility bill.
La 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 la.
Navien tankless water heaters. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
What do Donna Vogt, Janet Williams, Susan Honor, and Jonathan Erst have in common? They're just some of the best fans in baseball and winners of a pair of tickets to an upcoming game at $100 to Rawlings. Want to get in on the winning? To get entered, head to KMOX.com/contest and upload a photo of you decked out in your game day attire. The best fans in baseball, presented by KMOX and Rawlings, the mark of a pro.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription.
Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, VH1, TLC, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. And with up to 3 streams at once, you'll never have to fight about what to watch. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows, and save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR, so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere, for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC+. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's philo.tv.
Summertime is the best time to enjoy the outdoors and enhance the appearance of your home. Banner Construction can make your home the showplace of the neighborhood with maintenance-free James Hardy siding and beautiful Pella replacement windows. Drive up to your home with a renewed pride. Visit bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050. Get a free in-home design and estimate. Call 314-569-1050 and have a banner day. 314-569-1050.
Tired of hearing scary ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. We may be able to significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe to the IRS. Taxpayers should know. Huge savings are now being made available through the Fresh Start program that can drastically reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. Even if you haven't filed your taxes in years or are facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, or under audit, we can help. We've earned over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today. To see what savings you may qualify for, visit us online at TRA.com or call us at 800-511-0379, 800-511-0379. Again, that's 800-511-0379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Your passport into a world of wit and wisdom and a splash of humor. Chris and Amy on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Did you see that thing? I can't believe it. Something is obviously wrong.
This is a joke, right?
Are you freaking kidding me? No way!
You gotta be kidding me. Don't feel bad. There's no way you could have known that.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy?
I got John Hancock in today. It's Chris Ranji. Amy is on vacation. Did you see this story about, and this happened a couple of weeks ago, it was in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. The first place I saw it was the Ascension Catholic Church in Chesterfield.
God's country out there.
Yeah, they had put out a bulletin. You know, they do their, I guess, monthly bulletin, and people who are in the church can
parishioners.
Yeah, they can put little notes or whatever. And there was a headline. It was sort of a call to action for a militia. They were trying to recruit people to join a militia.
A militia.
Yes. So the headline said, "Join now, all young men back to the church to form a militia." It called on men between the ages of 18 and 29 to protect the Holy Eucharist, our congregation, our clergy, and the church grounds from violent and nonviolent attacks.
No.
It goes on to say that Ascension Parish in Chesterfield has been chosen as the testing ground for the militia, and if successful, hope to establish platoons at parishes around the world. Now, back in the middle of June when this happened, the pastor there said, I offered him, this person who came to me, he was a parishioner, and asked if he could put this bulletin in. He said he wanted to start a young club for men and did not give him all the information that it was a militia. Well, the pastor at that church says they've had all kinds of issues since then.
Well, the best thing I could say about that, it was a poor choice of verbiage, calling it a militia. Now, most churches do have safety protocols in place in the event something. I mean, we've had church shootings in this country recently. And so, you know, it's prudent to have a plan in place where you inform the congregation if this happens, you know, identify the exits, and you may have a member there, part of the security staff at the church that's prepared for an event like that. That would be a preferable approach to doing something like this, calling it a church safety plan than calling it a militia. I think that was a poor choice of words.
Yeah, it doesn't. Any place could be open to attack.
Yes.
A grocery store, it's happened in
Absolutely.
a grocery store.
Yep.
A mall, it's happened in a mall. Theater, it's happened in a theater.
Yeah, and you would have to imagine that those institutions out there, and I don't work at a grocery store, but I would imagine that the employees are given some kind of instruction as to what to do in the event of. Prudence would dictate that because, we live in a country where these things happen all too frequently.
John, you like a good cheeseburger?
I do. I had one last night.
Where'd you go? Did you make one?
No, I made one on the grill out there.
Wow, that a boy. A place in St. Louis that has been regarded as one of the top cheeseburgers for years.
Okay, yeah.
Is O'Connell's Pub.
Oh, no question.
Yes.
No question.
4652 Shaw.
Yeah.
Right there close to I don't know if it's technically the Hill neighborhood
It's in the area.
It's right across from where the Hill is, I guess. Well, it is for sale.
What?
Yes, you can buy O'Connell's Pub.
Wow.
Right off the highway there on Interstate 44.
Wow.
Do
you get all the formulations? They got to have formulations out there.
You mean recipes?
Yes. We call them food. When you're in the food business, Ron, you call those formulations.
Well, since you're in the food business, then you could buy this.
That would be something.
I would love to own a pub. I'd love to own a pub and a burger place.
Brother, do you know how much work it is to own a restaurant?
Yes.
You've got to be there all the time. People think it's so easy. It's not. Finding good people is hard. Finding people that won't steal from you is not the easiest thing in the world. And you've got to be hands-on. You get one bad kitchen incident, it could mess up your stuff for a long time. It's not it's not a walk in the park.
And the stuff is very, very expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The equipment. There's another Dave's World Famous out by me out in Chesterfield.
Dave's World Famous.
Yeah, they're hamburgers. They're world famous.
So it's in where on Chet? Where is
it's on Woods Mill, right off of Highway 40.
Tyler, you know this place? He's shaking his head.
Tyler
Matt Pajeski, do you know that? He doesn't know this.
Well,
place.
it's world famous. And
if it's world famous, why don't?
It's a darn good hamburger. Is all I can tell you. Darn
Dave's
good.
World famous.
Yeah.
What's your favorite in the? Is that your favorite in the whole area?
It's right up there. Definitely right up there.
Yeah, I don't mind that place at all.
People smoke in there though, so that may be off-putting for some.
Now, John, you did go to a bar a couple of weeks ago when you went to visit your son.
Yeah, Richards. That place was amazing.
You told me about it.
Yeah, it's 98 years old. The bartender had been there for decades.
Yeah,
and it's like walking into 1950.
There is a bar in Chicago, and every bar has a no smoking deal.
Not
Richards though.
Yeah.
And the cops know about it, and nobody does a damn
and
thing.
They don't take credit cards. It's all cash.
Come on, man.
You gotta love that's America right there.
Nobody carries cash anymore.
That's America.
Nobody carries cash.
Richard's Bar.
Hey, you know what's a problem?
Lots of things.
As I drink out of plastic today, plastics are a problem to the environment, for energy, for climate change, and also for your body.
That's why I won't get plastic surgery.
We're going to talk to reporter at ProPublica, Lisa Song, about the issues we are facing because of plastics next on KMOX.
Ad paid for by AG Marketing Group. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-866-7061. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-866-7061. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call 800-866-7061. That's 800-866-7061. Again, 800-866-7061. This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-403-5569 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-403-5569. That's 800-403-5569. What do you have to lose? Call 800-403-5569. Again, 800-403-5569.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, we've got sun and 81 downtown at the Arch. Our top story this hour. One day after the Supreme Court issued its historic ruling on presidential immunity, the prosecutor in former President Trump's hush money case has agreed to a sentencing delay. CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum.
There was evidence introduced in the hush money case that under the Supreme Court guidelines might not be permitted.
Donald Trump attorney Will Scharf on CNN last night after the Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity. He spoke about the January 6th interference indictment.
We've admitted consistently that there are acts alleged in the indictment that would constitute private conduct, but we believe that if the official conduct, the immune acts in the indictment are stripped away, that Jack Smith doesn't have a case.
Scharf is running against incumbent Attorney General Andrew Bailey in Missouri's Republican primary in August. The Missouri governor's race is heating up, according to a new poll.
That poll, which was not released publicly but discovered by The Independent on the website of a political action committee, shows the race on the Republican side has tightened up. The poll done by American Viewpoint shows a dead heat between Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe and Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, both at 27%. The surprising part was State Senator Bill Eigel getting 16% support after lingering in single digits in most other polls. Nearly 1/4 of respondents are still undecided. That poll was commissioned by a PAC supporting Kehoe. Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
A new $500,000 backstop fund has been created to help bring big sporting events to town. St. Louis Development Corporation calls it the Entertainment Attraction Fund. Mark Schreiber, president of the St. Louis Sports Commission, says they plan to dip into it when needed to compete financially with other cities.
Gives us better means to, if we have financial gaps, that we have a backstop for those, and just generally is going to make us more competitive in terms of the bids we're able to make.
The Sports Commission fell short on getting the U.S. Olympic swimming and gymnastics trials. They just submitted a bid for the U.S. Figure Skating Championships for 2026. There's welcome news for car dealers who depend on software to keep their businesses going.
It's not a household name for most of us, but for car dealers, CDK Global is a must for software. The company was hit by a cyber attack last month, something security consultant Charles Carmichael says takes time to fix.
There's a tremendous amount of investigative work that has to be performed to figure out how did the threat actor get into the environment
and do they still have access? The second thing organizations need to do is they need to start to recover their systems and their environment so that they can continue to run business operations.
Many dealers have had to process sales the old-fashioned way with pen and paper, but CDK says its clients should have their services back by Thursday. Peter King, CBS News.
The KMOX Business Desk, more vaccines.
Moderna secured nearly $200 million from the U.S. government to speed development of an mRNA vaccine for pandemic influenza as a dangerous strain of bird flu sweeps through the nation's dairy farms, fueling concern about a budding health crisis. Kimberly Adams, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel down 46 points to 39,123. Crash on 55 South at 255. Right 3 lanes are closed, 3 lanes open. 44 going west at Route W. We've got road work there and a stalled vehicle. 55 north at Richardson has just been cleared.
Plenty of sunshine this afternoon, breezy and hot with a high of 94. Breezy this evening, then increasing clouds, warm and more humid overnight with a thunderstorm late, low just 79. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got sunshine. It is 81 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Design Air, St. Louis's leading air conditioning repair service. Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, this is the perfect time to make sure your air conditioner is ready for what could be a brutal summer. Do what my wife Beth and I do. Contact Design Air at designairservice.com.
Making radio waves more interesting. The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
The green plastic watering can for a fake Chinese rubber brand.
It is the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX, except we don't have Amy Marks Kors today. She is out on vacation, but I've got, she does this once a week. But I've got John Hancock with me, Chris Ranji, and it is good to have you with us. And it is good to go to the Quiver River Electric guest line this morning, because as we mentioned going into the break, plastics are everywhere. And we like to think that when we take that plastic water bottle and throw it into the recycling bin, that it is going somewhere to be put to good use later. Turns out that may not be the case. Plastics are a problem. And to discuss that with us, reporter at ProPublica, who covers the environment, energy, and climate change, Lisa Song is with us on KMOX. Lisa, we appreciate your time. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you. And reading this story is, all right, here's the thing. I'm not totally surprised by this, because I keep hearing from people that, this recycling does nothing. This is all a big waste and nothing is happening with these with these plastics that we recycle. And then you read a piece like yours in ProPublica and it kind of, it gives you all the detail you didn't want to see.
So I guess the first thing I should clarify is that I'm not really talking about household recycling in my article. So when you throw your water bottles into that blue curbside container by the side of your house, that's not really the type of recycling I'm talking about. My story was about a newer type of recycling that the industry is promoting called chemical recycling. And in particular, I was writing about one special type of chemical recycling called pyrolysis. So there are only a few pyrolysis operators around the country. And so they're not taking a lot of plastic to begin with. But what my story revealed was that when they take that plastic and say they're recycling it, it turns out to be a very inefficient process. And they're making plastic that is barely recycled at all, but they get to market it as very recycled.
Because they say, sorry, they say they're turning it into something else that's useful, right?
Yes.
Like that's pretty much what's going on, and that is not happening. How bad is it though?
I think the part of it that really surprised me was, again, they're making very small amounts of recycled plastic product. And I got into this because I saw a PR news release for some kind of plastic fruit cup that ExxonMobil and some other companies were making together through this new recycling process. But when I contacted the companies and asked, where can I buy this fruit cup? I'm very interested and curious. Can you tell me how you made it? Can you tell me how many you've made and where I can buy it? I wasn't getting any answers. And it turns out that if you look at the cups and the press release, it will tell you this cup is made from 20% recycled plastic or 30% recycled content. But when you look at the fine print, it turns out that the actual plastic cup probably only has a few percent recycled content in it, but they're allowed to label it as 20 or 30% based on this sort of weird mathematical marketing thing they're allowed to do.
Yeah, and when most of us buy something that's got recycled on it, our assumption is it's 100% recycled. They've taken something and they've changed it and used it, but there's virtually nothing that's 100% recycled, at least in the plastic area.
Yeah, I mean that's just a reality that it's hard and expensive to make plastic that is 100% recycled, even through regular recycling means. So when you go into the grocery store today, you might see a water bottle that says this contains recycled plastic. That might probably be 10%, 20%, 30% recycled. And that's through normal recycling. It gets really tricky when you start seeing products made through this new type of recycling called pyrolysis. They will label them as 20 or 30% recycled, and then they'll have a little star symbol next to it with a ton of fine print. And the fine print is where this weird math starts to happen. And it's a very technical, complicated process that the average consumer has no hope of understanding. And this process is called mass balance. And I tried to explain in my article what mass balance is, and I had to use all of these diagrams and photos and animations to explain it. So you end up with these products that maybe have 2% or 5% actual recycled plastic in them, but these companies are allowed to label them as 20 or 30% recycled because of mass balance.
I am drinking out of a Dasani bottle right now that has a very big, a big part of the label says, I am a 100% recycled bottle, and then an asterisk, and then it says, except for the cap and the label. Okay, so this says it's 100% recycled. What is the likelihood that it's closer to like 15 or 20?
On that bottle, I think you're okay because as far as I understand, those Dasani bottles are made by recycled plastic through the normal way. And there are a few companies out there making 100% recycled plastic water bottles through regular recycling. The type of recycling I wrote about is still so new that it's going to be very hard for you to find those products at an average store today. But they are going to start probably cropping up a bit more over time if the industry expands.
And the reason we're talking about this, and we are talking about this with author Lisa Song, reporter at ProPublica, she covers the environment, energy, and climate change there. The reason we're talking about this is that this just massive amounts of plastic products that we are generating in the world today, they don't go away. Whether they get recycled or not, they're not going away, and they're causing real and quantifiable health impacts on people.
Yes, microplastics are a huge problem right now. You've probably seen in the news just in the past few months, all of these new scientific studies coming out showing microplastics ending up in our bodies. They've shown microplastics showing up in remote parts of the ocean, on remote mountains. It's hard to, it's in the air that we breathe. And all of these microplastics have a ton of chemicals on them. And these are the chemicals that the plastic industry adds to their products. These chemicals are things like dyes to give certain plastic products certain colors. These chemicals allow plastics to bend in a certain way, or they prevent them from degrading in the sun. And a lot of these chemical additives have really bad health effects, or just health effects that we don't know of. And so the health part of the plastic crisis is huge. And it's very important right now because all these countries around the world are getting together under the United Nations to try and come up with an international treaty to reduce the plastic problem. They're trying to tackle this international plastic crisis. And one of the options on the table is forcing the industry to reduce the amount of new plastic that's made. That is the last thing the industry wants. And so one of the things the industry is doing is they're pushing and promoting all kinds of plastic recycling because they would rather focus on recycling than reducing actual production of new plastic.
So just in reading that, that's one of the impressions that I took away is that I will, as I mentioned at the very beginning, when people recycle something and then you'll have a friend of yours or a colleague say, that doesn't really do anything. That's not going anywhere. Recycling is a scam. It doesn't actually work, and most of this stuff doesn't actually get recycled into anything else. One of the takeaways from your piece is that, well, the industries are kind of pushing that. It's not us, right? It's the industries telling us, oh, we're doing great things with the stuff that gets recycled. And it's almost like we are being gaslit in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think with regular recycling, it gets very complicated. There are only a few types of plastic that you can actually recycle. So most cities and towns, they'll only accept things like water bottles and laundry detergent jugs, milk jugs. Those are easy to recycle plastics. They've been recycled for many years. But overall, very little plastic is recycled in the US. Only a few percent of the plastic we make is recycled. And globally, less than 10% of plastic is recycled. So even if we just look at regular everyday recycling, yes, it works, but it's very inefficient. And there's not a lot of it actually happening. So recycling of any kind is not going to be enough to solve the plastic problem. That's really the big picture. And now, on top of this, the industry is advertising and promoting this new, different type of recycling called pyrolysis. And pyrolysis is really inefficient. And that's really the point of my article.
Yeah, I hate it when I get sleep paralysis. But
wow.
sorry.
Oh, geez.
This plastic manufacturing in the world, I don't know if you've studied the history of it, but I'm old enough to remember when they used to deliver the glass milk jugs to the front door. All of that's in plastic now. Has there been an exponential increase in the production of plastics in the world that is just running rampant?
Yes, absolutely. And, there was actually an interesting news article that I read a few weeks ago that when plastics first began to grow as an industry, that the industry had to teach people to accept the throwaway lifestyle. Because back then, decades ago, I think it was in the 50s or 60s, if I recall correctly, people didn't want to waste stuff. They didn't like the idea of using a plastic container once and throwing it away. But the industry then knew that their business depended on making more and more of this stuff. So it was in their interest to have people throw plastic away right after they used it. So they actually did a PR campaign to convince people it was okay to throw plastic away. So there was this sort of PR training of people to accept that throwaway lifestyle, which has, contributed to our current lifestyle and the way that we're bombarded with single-use plastic every day.
So what is because it is such a problem worldwide, is there any, and I know you said that the nations are getting together to try and form a treaty here. Is the United States actually planning to be part of that? Because it seems like we're resistant to things like that.
Yeah, I think there's a excuse me. There's a difference between what the treaty will end up doing versus how the treaty will be accepted in the US by Congress. And that's very unclear right now. And to be honest, the official position of the US delegation on the International Plastics Treaty is kind of unclear and opaque right now.
Lisa Song, reporter at ProPublica. We appreciate the conversation. Thanks for talking with us today.
Thank you for your time.
Lisa Song works for ProPublica, writes on the environment, energy, and climate change. And again, you should go take a look at that piece in ProPublica. It's it's important. I think it's good to read. It's right at the top. It says the world is drowning in plastic, and it's very good. I don't know, man. I'm drinking out of this bottle, and I feel like I'm being poisoned.
Well, you're 100% recycled there. Now
it does say 100% recycled.
So
I'm still not convinced that BPA free means it's good for me.
So if I'm drinking my club soda here, I get done in a plastic bottle.
Yeah.
And I go fill it up with water. Is that considered recycling?
Kinda.
Yeah, kinda.
You're recycling.
I am, because I care. Right?
That's sustainable.
Yeah.
That's John Hancock. I'm Chris Ranji. We're going to be talking to Chip Carey at the bottom of the hour. We're going to give you the birds with Chip. So we've got him coming up. Earl Austin Jr. will be joining the show. As we mentioned, Jason Tatum has a new contract. The Chaminade grad is going to make $314 million. 314. He did it on purpose. You're listening to KMOX.
I think one of my favorite aspects of our backyard is our fence. Amy Mark scores here for STL Fence Works. A fence in your yard not only gives you a bit more privacy and separation from the neighbors, but it really defines the space that you have. It also makes life easier. We have a dog. I know a lot of you do too. And being able to just let him out in the yard, especially at night, really saves us the hassle of having to deal with a leash and standing out in the rain. If you're thinking about a new fence or deck, you need to visit STL Fence Works. They understand that a fence or a deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle, and you want to make sure you're getting the most out of that investment. STL Fence Works is locally owned and operated. They're family owned and operated, as they have been for over 50 years. And when you work with them, you know you're working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. That's why they say at STL Fence Works, your satisfaction is their passion. Visit them today at stlfenceworks.com, stlfenceworks.com.
We want everyone to enjoy their 4th of July weekend. So please, use a rideshare or a designated driver. A DUI will change your life. Don't drink and drive. From your friends at Odyssey and Underlaw Injury Lawyers.
We have over $34 trillion in national debt. Where do you think the money to pay for that is going to come from? Taxes. Believe it or not, taxes are at historic lows right now, but how much longer will that last? A Roth IRA conversion might be a good option when planning for your retirement because you can pay lower taxes now and avoid potentially higher taxes later. The FIRA Capital Management Team, formerly Heisey Advisory Group, have seen taxes rise and fall. They know what options you have to potentially reduce the amount of taxes you pay in retirement. Call the team at FIRA Capital Management and schedule your tax analysis today. 314-328-4400. Uncle Sam needs money. Don't let him take it all from you. 314-328-4400. Investing involves risk. Always consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding a Roth conversion, as there may be additional tax considerations. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Today, we're constantly taking photos and videos to remember our favorite moments. But what about those captured before the smartphone? What about the memories tucked away on aging VHS tapes, film reels, or in fading photos?
These cherished memories are fading away with time, vulnerable to threats like heat, moisture, and mold. But fear not, there's a solution to safeguard your legacy. Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Nick. Together, we founded Legacy Box over a decade ago with one mission: to bring your memories into the 21st century.
It's time to bid farewell to old tapes you can't watch and faded photos. Legacy Box transforms them into digital treasures, ready to share with a click.
Just like magic, your shoebox of memories is now safely stored in the cloud or on a thumb drive.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box, so you can rest assured your priceless moments are in good hands.
Don't let your childhood fade away on old tapes. It's time to digitize those priceless moments.
Fast forward into the digital age. Visit legacybox.com/value and unlock 50% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value.
If you're thinking about selling your home, I'm sure there are two things that you want: certainty and the most money, right?
This is Debbie Monterey, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know that the agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis's real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first call when looking for an agent. Gloria does not make empty promises. She provides written guarantees. What does that mean for you? Certainty. Certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she will buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis's real estate expert Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
From city lights to neighborhood stories, KMOX's local newsroom keeps you informed. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Well, the immunity decision by the Supreme Court is not the only thing that people are freaking out about, John Hancock.
You don't say.
I'm Chris Ranji. This is the Chris and Amy Show. The Biden campaign at the moment is still intending to move forward. He is not planning to step down as far as we know. And even though Bill O'Reilly told us otherwise, it looks like he's going to forge ahead unless something changes here, despite the fact he had such a miserable performance at the debate last week, which really, that has not died down. That conversation has not gone anywhere. And you're also hearing it from members of the party. It's not just people on the outside or independents or Republicans who are criticizing him. It is people within the party, including Mike Quigley, who is a representative out of District 5 in Illinois.
If I were to talk to the president today, I would advise him that the decision he has to make now is clearly only his. And as much as I greatly respect him and appreciate the extraordinary job, I think his 4 years are, one of the great presidencies of our lifetime. But I think he has to be honest with himself. This is a decision he's going to have to make. He clearly has to understand, I think what you're getting to here is that his decision not only impacts who's going to serve in the White House the next 4 years, but who's going to serve in the Senate, who's going to serve in the House, and it will have implications for decades to come.
Yeah, and he's talking on CNN earlier this morning, and in particular about those other races, which it appears Democrats are concerned about, not just what happens at the presidential level, but what happens elsewhere, what happens down ticket.
I think what I'm stressing is it has to be his decision, but we have to be honest with ourselves that it wasn't just a horrible night. But I won't go beyond that out of my respect and understanding President Joe Biden, a very proud person who has served us extraordinarily well for 50 years. But it's his decision. I just want him to appreciate at this time just how much it impacts not just his race, but all the other races coming in November.
So that's Mike Quigley out of Illinois.
Well, and I think that's a
Democrat.
sentiment shared by a lot of people. Now, I look at polling all day. Biden's running behind the Democrat Senate candidates in every battleground state right now. He has taken a hit in the post-debate polling. I think that's going to get worse.
How big is the hit from your polling that you've seen?
So it's substantial, and you don't see it in the ballot quite as much at this point. And the ballot's always the last thing to move. But you see it in the job approval numbers going down. You really see it. There was a CBS poll done that basically almost half of Democrats want somebody else to be their nominee. That's incredible. But the electoral problem that Biden has isn't just that he's likely to lose to Donald Trump. I think that's the case. But the real problem, and the problem for members of Congress like this fella, is that while Donald Trump has a large millions of people who passionately are for him, they're going to walk over glass to go vote for him. That doesn't exist in the Democratic side for Joe Biden. There's anti-Trump passion that exists, and that will be out there, but there's not enough of that to elect him. And there will be a lot of traditional Democrats who say, this is the guy that just aren't going to show up. And that spells potential real problems for the Democrats, specifically in U.S. Senate races where urban turnout has got to be off the charts if they're going to win those states like Pennsylvania and Arizona.
That is John Hancock. I am Chris Ranji. This race, I wish it wasn't so consequential because it is otherwise interesting. It's almost like you wish this was another country that you could just kind of watch from a distance and look at the show, but not great. All right, when we come back, Chip Carey will give us the birds. We're going to talk some Cardinals baseball. They start a series tonight in Pittsburgh. John Hancock and Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Hi, this is Johnny Rabbit. Isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? Midwest Money Company is buying your valuables. Midwest Money Company is buying gold, silver, coins, currency, diamonds, plus gold and silver jewelry. Call Midwest Money Company, 481-0770. That's 481-0770. Or stop by Midwest Money, 5900 Hampton for a free appraisal.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty reminding you, why pay more than $4? In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many markets' ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today, 314-441-4444, 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than $4?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Tune in to the Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Mosby Building Arts, Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX for expert advice on remodeling, design, and construction. This live Q&A show begins at 11 a.m. or find podcasts at mosbybuildingarts.com.
11:30, sunshine and 82 downtown at the Arch. Americans are digging deeper to fill up during this July 4th travel week, says Patrick DeHaan of the app Gas Buddy, which locates cheap gas stations.
In the run-up to July 4, we have seen gas prices rising nationally. It's been a slow but steady rise, but here in the last couple of days, as we get closer to the holiday, the increases have accelerated.
We've got more on travel coming up in the news at noon. Crash on 55 South at 255. 4 lanes are closed there, according to MoDOT. So avoid 55 South past 255. High today of 94. Breezy this evening. Increasing clouds. Uncomfortably warm. More humid with a thunderstorm late. Low just 79. For tomorrow, thunderstorm. High about 90. Sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. It's 82 right now. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Jerry Kelly can install a new AC tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, even if we call it 8 tonight.
Wow, that's fast.
They're fast and they're good.
Mathematically, that actually equals got it going on.
Tomorrow.
JerryKelly.com.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Today, we're constantly taking photos and videos to remember our favorite moments. But what about those captured before the smartphone? What about the memories tucked away on aging VHS tapes, film reels, or in fading photos?
These cherished memories are fading away with time, vulnerable to threats like heat, moisture, and mold. But fear not, there's a solution to safeguard your legacy. Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Nick. Together, we founded Legacy Box over a decade ago with one mission: to bring your memories into the 21st century.
It's time to bid farewell to old tapes you can't watch and faded photos. Legacy Box transforms them into digital treasures, ready to share with a click.
Just like magic, your shoebox of memories is now safely stored in the cloud or on a thumb drive.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box, so you can rest assured your priceless moments are in good hands.
Don't let your childhood fade away on old tapes. It's time to digitize those priceless moments.
Fast forward into the digital age. Visit legacybox.com/value and unlock 50% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value.
Hi, this is Ken Newbold at Newbold Toyota and Newbold BMW. I am so confident that my team will take care of every one of your service and sales needs. I'll give you my cell phone, 618-791-5470. Newbold Toyota or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
A roller coaster ride of banter and brilliance. Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Hi, I'm Paul Goldschmidt.
I'm Cardinals outfielder Lars Nootbaar.
I'm Woodson Contreras.
Now, Chris and Amy give you the birds.
I'm Adam Wainwright, and you're listening to the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Cardinals tonight will start a series against the Pittsburgh Pirates, a 4:45 pregame show here on KMOX. 5:40 tonight. Kyle Gibson will pitch against Mitch Keller at PNC Park. And yes, thank you, Matt Pajeski. Matt Pajeski, our producer, has to remind me of stuff all the time because I'm forgetful. This Cardinals report brought to you by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. We welcome in Bally Sports Midwest broadcaster for your St. Louis Cardinals, Chip Carey, who is with us on KMOX. Good morning, Chip.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, we're doing great. How's it going in Pittsburgh? You're about to start a series in one of my favorite ballparks in the country.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here in Pittsburgh. Gorgeous weather. Ricky, Brad, and I got out, got some exercise this morning. Weather's perfect. Ballpark looks great. The Clemente Bridge is open for pedestrian traffic again. And you're right, big series with the Pirates. And the start of another important road trip for the Cardinals, who had a fantastic homestand. So we're coming in hot. Hopefully that good work will continue tonight.
Yeah, and they're playing against a team that is struggling this season. And as the Cardinals try to make up some ground in the division, right now they sit, if you're looking at the standings halfway through the season, they are in a playoff position right now. But these are the teams, Chip, that you really want to see them, you want to see them eat. You got to eat against teams like the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, they pitch. They've got a really good pitching staff. We're not going to see Paul Skeens in this series, but we're going to see Mitch Keller tonight. We're going to see Jared Jones tomorrow and Martin Perez, a left-hander. And we know the Cardinals at times have struggled against left-handed pitching. And look, when you play on the road, you face a team that has good pitching, your offense has to come to play. And if ever there was a time for the Cardinals' big right-handed bats to start heating up here at the halfway point, this is the road trip for that to happen. First of all, here in Pittsburgh, and then we go to Washington, where I think we're going to see 4 left-handed starters in a row for an exciting young Nationals team that just brought up James Woods, one of their big prospects. But to the bigger point, this is the time of year where you can really, really make a move. A lot of teams that are out of it or, looking at a playoff spot that's somewhat distant or have many teams in front of them, this is a chance where you can really make a move right before and right after the All-Star break. And for the Cardinals, we've got the Pirates, we've got the Nationals, we've got Kansas City, we've got the Cubs coming up before the break. If the Cardinals can put together a good 2-week stretch here, they can really, as you said, position themselves more strongly, not just for a playoff spot, but maybe set themselves up for the division title as well. They're 6 games behind Milwaukee. We've lost 6 of 7 to the Brewers. We have a lot of games left with them. But, if you can make a move and shave off a couple of games before the Midsummer Classic, that would be a great idea.
Yeah, this is a big stretch, no question about it. We've got Kyle Gibson on the mound tonight. He made his last start, missed the start before that with a stiff back. He was on the bereavement list for a while. And because of that, we've gotten to see a little bit of Matthew Liberatore. Very impressive start his last time out. I think Andre Palante has been a pleasant surprise. And those 4 1/3 innings that Gordon Graceffo gave the Cardinals the other day were critical. Do the Cardinals feel like they might have internally the options to cover that 5th spot in the rotation with some level of confidence?
Well, barring another arm showing itself within the organization or a deal at the deadline, these are the options that you have, at least right now. You're right about Graceffo. He gave the bullpen a huge lift with those 4 1/3 innings. That's something that was desperately needed for this group. And Kyle Gibson, you mentioned him. I give him a pass for his last start. He hadn't pitched in 12 days, and you could tell he was rusty. He didn't have his command. He couldn't throw anything for a strike against the Braves, and they made him pay, and it was a short outing for him. So between that and the doubleheader, like you said, the Cardinals' bullpen has been taxed. They've been used a lot, and when this team wins, because the games are so close every single day, your big 3 guys, Kittredge, Romero, and Ryan Helsley, are going to far surpass their innings worked in a long, long time, if ever. So that's something that's really got to be paid attention to. And I think Ollie's done an excellent job of bullpen management and trying to regulate workloads and making guys unavailable to give them the proper amount of rest and recovery. But some of that falls on the offense. I don't think I can remember the last time the Cardinals had a game where they won 8-1 or 10-0. Every game we play is a one-run game or within 3. And so when you have a chance to win it, you've got to go to your best guys because the divisional race is going to be so close. So it all meshes together. It all folds together. And as we said, it's time for the offense to really start to jumpstart itself again, give the pitcher some breathing room, and maybe give some of those guys at the back end a little bit of a break.
That was the thing earlier in the year, that starting pitching wasn't giving as many innings as you would like to see, just so that you didn't have to go to the bullpen so often, and the offense wasn't scoring as much, which doesn't give them a whole lot of breathing room. But this team has been winning. They've been winning over the last month and a half or so. One of the best records in the National League, in fact. Why has that happened? Why have they been so good in terms of the results overall?
Yeah, a couple of things. I think, one, the starting pitching has been excellent by and large. Are they going 7 innings every day? No, but by and large, they're giving you 6 and a chance to win. Number 2, the bullpen, as we said, not just the big 3 guys at the end, but you mentioned Liberatore and Palante. Ryan Fernandez has been a godsend. Chris Roycroft, John King, all of those unsung heroes have really picked up big innings and big responsibilities and have done a good job. I think for me, though, personally, what's really been fun to watch is, if not the passing of the torch, but the co-carrying of the torch by so many of these young Cardinals hitters. Think about the job that Pajes and Herrera did with Contreras on the injured list for 40 games. Those 2 guys were magnificent, both at the plate and behind the plate. Alec Burleson, Brendan Donovan, Michael Ciani and his defense in center, Mason Wynn having a Rookie of the Year caliber season at shortstop, both at the plate and in the field. Those guys have really picked up the slack for a lot of the absences offensively of Arenado, Goldschmidt, and Contreras because of injury. I shudder to think where the Cardinals would be if these young guys hadn't taken that really, really important step forward as offensive forces for this club this year. And now we're on the cusp of getting Lars Nootbaar back on this road trip. Tommy Edman may not be far behind. And then all of a sudden you have your starting 9 that you envision coming out of spring training together for the first time with 90 some odd games left. So things are looking up for the Cardinals. I think they've got a great chance to win the division. The offense hasn't clicked completely yet. I think it has a chance to do that. And as I said before, now would be a really, really good time for it to start against a division rival in Pittsburgh.
You all know that voice. It's Chip Carey, the Bally Sports Midwest voice of the St. Louis Cardinals. Last season was such a disappointment. We ended up 20-plus games under 500, and the team collectively blew, I don't know the number, between 20 and 30 saves last year. That really was the difference in what this team's record is versus last season. And the big reason for that, of course, is our closer, Ryan Helsley. I did a little research this morning, Chip, and it looks to me like it's been 21 years since a relief pitcher has won the Cy Young Award in Major League Baseball. And in this day of all of the metrics that people look at in WAR and statistics, not likely that a closer would earn the Cy Young. I think the closer's been devalued overall. But could Ryan Helsley be in contention to win a Cy Young if this keeps up?
Yeah, sure. If you have a bunch of National League pitchers who are close in wins and ERA and strikeouts and all of that, yeah, it's possible. I mean, Mike Marshall won it, but I think he was a relief pitcher who threw 200 innings one year. So I don't think Helsley's going to do that. But to your point about Ryan, last year, the Cardinals needed to use him in the untraditional closer's role, meaning when the opposing team's best hitters came up in the 7th or the 8th inning, he would sometimes have to get 4 outs, or he would pitch the 8th and not the 9th. And that really didn't jive with his preparation and the way that he felt most comfortable. And I think at times that showed. I think Helsley and the Cardinals sat down after the season and before this season and said, we are going to have you pitch the 9th inning, irrespective of spot in the batting order, and that's going to be your inning. And Helsley said, okay, if that's going to be the case, then I know my role. I know when I'm going to pitch, but I also have to make myself more available to pitch. And I think that's as big as anything else. The man's 30 for 30 in saves. He's tied Lee Smith for most saves as a Cardinals reliever before the All-Star break. He's going to be an All-Star. If he's not, there should be an investigation. He leads Major League Baseball in saves. He's been extremely dominant. He's been extremely durable. And hey, crazier things have happened in our game. I don't know that he's going to win the Cy Young Award, but if he keeps up this pace, I'm sure he's going to get some votes, and every single one of them will be well-deserved.
every single team in the National League, Chip, except for 2, are within 5 games of a playoff spot right now, which means you got a lot of teams that kind of feel like they're still in it or would be reluctant to deal away from their roster at this point. But as we sit now, in the month where the trade deadline occurs, the Cardinals have a few weeks to figure it out. What do you think they need, and how likely do you think it is they get it?
Well, I think to answer that question, I think the safest answer is to say I don't really know what they need yet. And the reason I say that is, again, they haven't had their envisioned starting 9 together for one pitch of one game this year. Until you get Edman and Nootbaar back and you have Contreras healthy and in a groove and you get Gorman going, which is a big, big hole right now, I don't think you really know what you need. But looking at the team as they are established now, perfect world, you'd love to see him get another big-time starter. That would be outstanding. Then everybody can slot down in rotation. Bullpen arms are always something you're going to need. Again, with the workload of the big 3 at the back end of the relief corps is something you have to monitor very carefully. And I think as we're going to see against the Nationals, when you match up against a team that's left-hand heavy, either in rotation or bullpen, with all the left-handed bats that the Cardinals have in their lineup, that sometimes is problematic as to how you stack your offense and how you put that lineup card together. So in order, perfect world starting pitching, second bullpen, and third right-handed bat. Getting Tommy Edman back as a switch hitter will help. Nootbaar hits left-handed, of course, but that's just another left-handed bat that you have to contend with in your order to go along with Brendan Donovan, Nolan Gorman, and the rest. So, I have a general rule. I don't tell Mo how to put the team together. He doesn't tell me how to broadcast the games, and it's worked out pretty well. But I think the Cardinals are uniquely positioned to go get what they want, assuming the price is right. And as you said, with so many teams still thinking that they're in contention for a playoff spot, I think the trade market's going to be very interesting, if not very difficult to pull off for a bunch of clubs. And we'll see if the Cardinals are fortunate to do what they need.
How's Chris doing in Oakland?
He's having a great time, other than the fact the A's aren't playing all that well, but he's having a blast. He just got done with his first road trip to Anaheim and Arizona. He didn't get kicked off the charter, which is good to know. So he's kept that family tradition alive, but he's having a blast and learning a lot and looking forward to a great second half with the A's and then on to Sacramento in the years to come.
Chip Caray, good to talk to you. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you being with us today.
Pleasure's all mine. We'll see you on TV tonight, guys. Thanks again.
Chip Caray calls Cardinals baseball for Bally Sports Midwest. And tonight's game, it is a 5:40 first pitch. Kyle Gibson, Mitch Keller is the pitching matchup from Pittsburgh. We've got a pregame show that gets started at 4:45 right here on KMOX. And you should get your eyes checked. Can't watch a ball game unless you get your eyes checked, especially if you're dealing with any of those symptoms that a lot of people deal with as you get toward this part of the year. Dry eyes, itchy eyes, maybe you've got some allergies. Well, at Ophthalmology Associates, they'll help you get it rectified. They're going to help you figure it out. And you want to visit the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates because doctors in this area trust them enough to get their eyes checked there. The number is 314-966-5000. So you'll want to make your appointment. And if you've got health insurance, a lot of times that health insurance is going to help you pay for that annual eye exam. If not all of it, at least some of it. And it is something you need to do because whether it's something minor that they can fix pretty easily or might give you an idea that something more serious is going on with you, they can help you get to that diagnosis as well. So make an appointment with one of the terrific doctors, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, Greg Birdie, or Samuel Berry, by giving them a call, 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
And paid for by AG Marketing Group. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-866-7061. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-866-7061. The call is free. The consultation is free. Call 800-866-7061. That's 800-866-7061. Again, 800-866-7061.
Enjoy rounds of golf with friends this summer, courtesy of KMOX and Cutwater. Real cocktails perfectly mixed. Now through July 1st, head to your local Schnucks, Deerbergs, or liquor store. Look for the Cutwater display and scan the QR code to get entered for a chance to win 6 rounds of golf at area courses from Walters Golf Management. You and your friends could hit the links at courses like Gateway National Golf Links, Stonewolf, Far Oaks, and more. No purchase necessary. Open to Missouri residents 21 or older. Details and rules at KMOX.com/contests.
We want everyone to enjoy their 4th of July weekend. So please use a rideshare or a designated driver. A DUI will change your life. Don't drink and drive. From your friends at Odyssey and Underlaw Injury Lawyers.
Thanks for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is Sarah. How can I help?
I've been thinking.
What have you been thinking about?
I decided I should declutter more often because it's an important part of a balanced and healthy life.
Have you ever noticed that 1-800-GOT-JUNK has a question mark at the end of it?
Yes, I have noticed that.
We make junk disappear.
All I have to do is point.
All you have to do is point.
Can you come right now?
We're on our way.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navient's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navien tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Ordinary radio is overrated. Extraordinary radio now. Chris and Amy on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Got my buddy John Hancock
Here we
with
are.
me today. Chris Ranji. It is the Chris and Amy show. You're not going to believe it.
I'm not.
Amy's on vacation.
Oh, I do believe that.
On vacation. Man, I think she's in Greenland. I don't know where she's at.
It's lovely this time of year in Greenland.
I've heard it's nice all the time.
Yeah, well, I mean,
except when it's cold.
It gets a little chilly sometimes.
So we mentioned yesterday that Elliot Davis at Fox 2 has announced his retirement after 4 decades?
45 years.
The man has been in the business for 45 years. That's a very long time to be in the business. It's difficult to stay, especially at one place. for more than 10 years, and he's been there forever. So Elliot Davis, who we have had on this show in the past, he spoke to Michael Calhoun about him getting into becoming an investigative reporter.
Not a lot of reporters want to be investigative reporters because most of the time you really are not that popular. I was already doing investigative reporting, and so I was kind of a natural fit for it. Nobody really wanted to do it. So it wasn't like there was a long line.
So how about that? You're doing something that, no, you're not going to make a whole lot of friends because you're meddling, but it's meddling for a good purpose. I think and to me, while he did it from a local perspective and trying to keep, and I'm sure there were times where maybe it was off, but trying to keep businesses honest, trying to keep places honest,
and elected officials,
yeah. That's good work. That is important work, and that's why investigative reporters and journalists are important. And there's been there's been an all-out assault on the field of journalism over the last decade or so.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is really bad. Because I don't think people understand what would happen if there wasn't that. I don't think you get it. You think, the media, I hate the media, I hate journalists, and you're the enemy and all this. You know what would happen in a society if we didn't have journalists? As bad as you think politicians are now, just wait till there's nobody to check them. Just wait till there's nobody to tell you what they're doing.
Well, you're already seeing that in a lot of local governments as these local newspapers go out of business. There's literally nobody covering City Hall in large swaths of this country. And it's a problem. And journalism is a profession. It has standards. I think it's probably true that the majority of folks that go into journalism have a left of center worldview, but they have standards that are set. And certainly here at KMOX, they're followed in our newsroom. And that's important because you get me, you get my opinions, and they are, I'm often wrong, Ranj, but I'm never in doubt.
Hey, there you go.
So I give my opinions. But a journalist is there to give you the facts and present the news, and that's what we do, and that is a valuable service. As to Elliot Davis, one of my favorite of his, you paid for it, years ago. The fellow was running for, he was the county executive in Jefferson County. This is 30-some years. I can't even remember who the candidate was. But they were going after him because he had just paved all the roads in Jefferson County right before the election. And they may have taken, shall we say, a few shortcuts.
Oh,
and so Elliot's out there doing it. You paid for it. And while he's talking, he's down on one knee and he's literally ripping the road up off of the look, there's no under-gravel here. And he's just ripping the road down the street like that. And that was one of his better ones.
It
was hilarious.
So
it was hilarious.
That is so good. See? And did that person win? They lost. You think they lost in part because of the report?
They're ripping the roads up, He paved the roads.
With your hand?
With his hand.
You shouldn't be able to rip up road with your hand.
30 years ago.
Unless you're the Hulk. Or Thor.
Elliot's a big guy, though.
Well, yeah, but he's not the Hulk.
Right.
And Elliot Davis is, in fact, alive.
He is.
So, yes.
Ripping up roads for us.
Congratulations to him on a brilliant career.
Storied.
John Hancock, Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Bees and wasps can do more than sting and send a party scattering. They can also cause damage to your home. Amy Mark scores here for Rottler Pest Control. Did you know that carpenter bees bore holes into decks and other wood structures, hence the name carpenter, and bees and wasps build nests in wall voids and create holes used to enter and exit. They're pesky. Rottler can take care of a stinging insect problem to not only save your guests at your parties, but also to protect the integrity of your home. And let's talk about protecting your lawn. Did you know that Rottler takes care of moles? Rottler offers the most advanced and highly effective mole elimination programs available. Their program includes year-round warranted protection. And here's the part I love. You don't even have to be home for Rottler to do the service. So don't let tunnels ruin your lawn. Call Rottler. Call them at 877-ROTTLER, 877-ROTTLER, or visit them today at rottler.com.
Today, we're constantly taking photos and videos to remember our favorite moments. But what about those captured before the smartphone?
What about the memories tucked away on aging VHS tapes, film reels, or in fading photos?
These cherished memories are fading away with time, vulnerable to threats like heat, moisture, and mold. But fear not, there's a solution to safeguard your legacy. Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Nick. Together we founded Legacy Box over a decade ago with one mission, to bring your memories into the 21st century.
It's time to bid farewell to old tapes you can't watch and faded photos. Legacy Box transforms them into digital treasures, ready to share with a click.
Just like magic, your shoebox of memories is now safely stored in the cloud or on a thumb drive.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box, so you can rest assured your priceless moments are in good hands.
Don't let your childhood fade away on old tapes. It's time to digitize those priceless moments.
Fast forward into the digital age. Visit legacybox.com/value and unlock 50% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-515-6608. 800-515-6608. 800-515-6608.
KMOX, KEZK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, we've got sun. It's 85 degrees. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Our top story this hour, the holiday travel season continues as it's expected millions of Americans will travel for the July 4th holiday by air, train, and roads. AAA's Aixa Diaz offers up this advice for people traveling this week.
The day before July 4th is always a busy one. Try to avoid being on the road during those afternoon hours. That's when traffic really builds up on the interstates. And if you've driven through any of the major interstates or the metro areas during holidays, you know that it just keeps building.
Gas Buddy says the average regular price in the St. Louis area is $3.27 a gallon and staying stable. A St. Louis man on death row now has a hearing to vacate his conviction.
August 21st, just over a month ahead of the execution date, is when Marcellus Williams will have his day in court again. Here's special counsel Matthew Jacober.
It's been our goal all along is to make sure that we have a hearing in advance of the execution date that gives the court sufficient time to review the record and make a reasoned decision.
Williams was sentenced to death in 2001 for the 1998 murder of Post-Dispatch reporter Felicia Gale. But county prosecutors say new DNA evidence shows he was not the killer. His execution is set for September 24th. He previously had his execution stayed in 2017 by then Governor Eric Greitens. Outside the St. Louis County Courthouse, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A groom was shot on his wedding night during a robbery in Dutchtown.
It happened during a wedding reception on Saturday in the backyard of a home on Neosho. St. Louis City police believe 2 armed men tried to rob several people. As one of the suspects started to go through pockets, a shot rang out and the groom was reportedly shot in the head. Both gunmen ran away. Police have not made any arrests in this case. The groom was listed in critical condition. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
This just in.
Rudy Giuliani has officially been disbarred in New York.
The appeals court in Manhattan handed down its decision, saying Giuliani repeatedly made false statements about former President Trump's 2020 election loss. Giuliani, a former Trump legal advisor and former mayor of New York City, was disbarred effective immediately. His New York law license had already been suspended. In its decision, the court said that Giuliani was disbarred from the practice of law and his name stricken from the roll of attorneys and counselors at law in the state of New York.
The KMOX Business Desk, lunch for cheap.
Sonic has joined the value meal wars, raising the bar when it comes to lowering prices. The drive-up burger and shake chain will charge $1.99 for its meal deals. McDonald's, Burger King, and Taco Bell have also launched value meal promotions, but Sonic says its value meal is permanent. Sonic is owned by the same company that owns Arby's. Kimberly Adams, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's down 64 points to 39,105.
Mostly sunny this afternoon, breezy and becoming hot with a high up to 94. It'll remain breezy and warm this evening. Increasing clouds, warm and more humid later tonight with a thunderstorm after midnight, though just 79. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Comfort Solutions, heating and cooling in the heat of summer. If your air conditioner fails on a hot day, call Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling. They carry the Lennox line and offer no interest for 5 years on a new Lennox AC unit. Go to ComfortSolutionsSTL.com. Sunshine 84 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Where opinions collide, laughter resonates, and the unexpected is always invited. The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Chris and Amy Show, but today it is John Hancock in Amy's place. She is on vacation in Cancun.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought she was in Uruguay.
It doesn't matter. I'm Chris Ranji. It's good to have you with us today as we will be talking to Earl Austin Jr.
Great
He's
guy.
coming up. Yeah, we'll talk a little SLU basketball, but like to get his thoughts on Jason Tatum's new contract. He has it's a big contract, baby, which we'll tell you about in the next segment. But after what happened yesterday with the Supreme Court, and John and I talked about it again today, and some of the confusion that has been created, the Manhattan District Attorney today says it is not going to oppose Trump's request to delay the hush money sentencing, John. This is from The Guardian, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. It will not oppose that. They have filed a motion arguing his conviction should be set aside after yesterday's Supreme Court immunity ruling. So a lot of things like this are going to happen. We knew this was going to be the effect of that, and there will be more things to come. But this is sort of the first domino to fall.
Yeah, and that case, of course, is a state case, but in the act, of course, with Stormy Daniels occurred before Donald Trump was president. Yeah, but the payments occurred before Donald Trump was payments, but the reimbursement of Michael Cohen occurred while Donald Trump was president. So that will be interesting to see how the ruling on immunity might, if it does at all, apply to that case.
So the request is to postpone the sentencing hearing, which is scheduled for July 11th. That is when it is supposed to happen, but there could be a delay in that. We did speak a little bit about President Biden and his current candidacy for re-election. At this point, everybody from his camp says he's going to forge ahead, and privately, he has apparently been convinced he should continue. His family says that he should stay in the race. There must be a belief that he can beat former President Trump in an election again, but there has become a growing number of people, even people on the Democratic side, who believe he may not be able to win re-election. Not that Nancy Pelosi, the former Speaker of the House, believes he can't, but appearing on MSNBC, it does appear that maybe there's a little bit of doubt about what is going on with Joe Biden right now and his mental acuity.
Now, again, I think it's a legitimate question to say, is this an episode or is this a condition? And so when people ask that question, it's completely legitimate of both candidates. Because what we saw on the other side was the lying of Justin. You know, I tore up his speech when he lied to the Congress on every single page of his State of the Union. We should be tearing up what he said the other day because it was a pack of lies.
So that is Nancy Pelosi just about 25 or 30 minutes ago on MSNBC. We also heard from Mike Quigley, who is, and while Pelosi is not saying right now that he should drop out of the race, Mike Quigley, who is a representative out of District 5 in Illinois, he seems to be concerned about Biden in the race and what it means down ballot.
The morning after, when I looked at this, I said to myself, well, he had a really, really bad night, and we'll move forward. Obviously, we have to be honest with ourselves and recognize that we have to take the voters where they are. And there is concern about this situation, given where we are. And the real tragedy besides that is, well, the American people didn't get to see the contrast that existed between two dramatically different people acting as president for 4 years.
Now, Quigley did on CNN in an appearance this morning also say that you can't really say it was one bad night. I'm paraphrasing, but that has been sort of the excuse from people who have been trying to protect the former or the current president that, that's just he had a bad night. He had a bad 90 minutes. Well, there is clearly a lot of doubt that it's more than just that.
Of course. And Pelosi said it herself. Was this an episode or a condition? And there have been dozens of cases of this when Joe Biden is speaking off script. He could still read the teleprompter. He did that last night. He did that the Friday after the debate at his rally. But when he's off script and responding, there is something cognitively less about him than existed 4 years ago. And there's just no debate about that. It's plain and simple for everybody to see. And the Democrats are doing a disservice by trying to convince us that we didn't see what we saw. We did see what we saw. And I'll tell you what we're also going to see. We're going to see these polls continue to show erosion for Joe Biden. That was a disastrous performance last Thursday night. Make no mistake about it. And time is not going to heal that. And I don't suspect, unless they keep him hidden, that that's going to be the last episode like this. Because the guy, he's clearly dealing with something. And the polls are going to continue to denigrate for him and or degenerate for him. And the Democrats, and here's the problem they've got, if they're going to do something, which I think is malpractice if they don't, because they will lose this election if they persist with Joe Biden. If they're going to do something, that window is now. It's not 2, 3, 4 weeks from now, after another couple of episodes. It becomes increasingly more difficult to do what has to be done. And it's a heavy lift to replace a nominee at this point in the process, but it's doable. The Democratic Party, if you look at the polls, they want somebody else. And certainly the country, the country would like somebody else on both parties in a majority view.
Yeah,
so,
they're both very unpopular people.
Yeah.
And two very different presidencies. And there is a school of thought that there are a lot of people out there who don't care what Biden's acuity is. They just don't want that other guy. They don't want Trump to be president, and they would vote for that administration over a Trump administration 10 times out of 10. But the question is, will there be motivation? Will there be motivation on the part of people to say, well, I don't like Trump, and we can't have him anywhere near the Oval Office again?
Yeah,
the
people that don't like Trump are going to show up. There's not a clamoring for Joe Biden, even in the Democratic Party. There's not a lot of passion. All the passion on the Democratic side is anti-Trump, or the vast majority of it. And the problem you've got with a flawed candidate like Joe Biden, who's obviously going through whatever, is that your rank and file Democrat voter may not feel motivated to go to the polls and pull the lever for Joe Biden. And that could spell disaster, which is why I think the chances, if this thing continues as a Biden v. Trump, I think the chances of Joe Biden winning this election are minuscule and diminishing.
Representative Quigley, by the way, did also go on to say that polls might be the one thing that finally convinced Biden to drop out.
Well, they're going to get bad. They're already, they've started bad, and they're going to get worse.
We'll see how bad they do get. Today, the New York State Supreme Court disbarred former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani over his part in the Donald Trump election interference efforts in 2020. We kind of expected this to happen, but today it was done. The court says the seriousness of his misconduct cannot be overstated. He flagrantly misused his prominent position as the personal attorney for former President Trump and his campaign, through which he repeatedly and intentionally made false statements, some of which were perjurious to the federal court, state lawmakers, the public, and this court concerning the 2020 presidential election, in which he baselessly attacked and undermined the integrity of this country's electoral process. So that is from the New York State Supreme Court. And as we kind of expected, Rudy Giuliani has been disbarred officially.
Man, you think about a meteoric fall. I mean, of Rudy. This was America's mayor. One of the more popular politicians in the entire country for a season.
Everybody was on board with this guy.
And the only thing I can equate it to is poor Alan Craig, the Cardinal right fielder who broke his ankle sliding to make a catch. He 97 RBIs. he was one of the most clutch hitters in all of baseball. He breaks his ankle,
but he didn't do something stupid.
That was it. Well, he broke his ankle.
Let's not hit. I mean, it happens.
It did happen. And
what Giuliani did doesn't just happen.
Yeah, but both of them just fell off the cliff.
Yeah.
You hate to see it.
It happened again, John. Remember not that long ago, a flight where several people were hurt, dozens of people were injured because of severe turbulence.
Yes.
In fact, there was some paralysis. There were people who were actually paralyzed. One person died on the flight. Well, it happened again. On a flight from Spain to Uruguay, it was diverted to Brazil overnight. 40 people were injured. An Air Europa flight experienced heavy turbulence to the point where and I'm still trying to figure out how this happened, but I'm seeing videos. There is some blood inside the cabin.
Ooh,
people have been hurt. A guy ended up in the luggage bin. He was up inside the luggage bin.
I can't even fit my luggage in the luggage bin.
I can't either. But like the door, so I guess the door flew open and then he flew up into it.
Wow. Was he okay?
I mean, I guess, but 40 people were hurt in this thing.
Well, if he weighed over 50 pounds, they're going to charge him for that.
Okay, John. That's not very nice.
You hate to see it.
This man
yeah, poor guy.
Had a traumatic experience.
He did.
And you are making jokes at his expense.
I'm just saying it's ridiculous, these baggage fees.
It is.
It bothers me, right?
Well, that's why you fly Southwest.
It's exactly why I fly Southwest.
Bags fly free.
They do. I like that. And now the thing about flying Southwest, you got to have a plan. You don't just take your little A6 and get on the plane. No.
A6?
Yeah, buddy. That's the only way.
What are you, rich?
Well, it's $30. So you get your A6. That's only half the battle. Because the problem with A6 is that you know that C20 is coming. And C20 may or may not be a very large person. So the whole idea is to try and recruit the skinny person to the middle seat if it's a full flight. Always find out if it's full. If it's not full, if there's 5, 6, 7 open seats, then I do the puffer fish move.
Or you kind of get big.
I swell up and I take up as much. And it's easier. It's getting easier as time goes on. And I do the puffer fish. And it's amazing how people will take one look at me and they say, nah,
not this guy.
Yeah.
Hey, keep moving.
And so if you've got a plan on Southwest, it's the only way to fly.
I do it I've got long legs.
Yeah, I do too.
I do this. I do the thing where I make it look like I have no choice. I have to kind of spread a little bit.
Yeah.
And my leg is encroaching on the middle seat.
But you don't have a black diamond slope for a belly like I do. And I mean, it's highly effective. And I can get, with the right angle, I can get about 3 chins going. And man, you throw the diamond slope and the 3 chins at them, there ain't no way those people are going to sit down next to me.
Jason Tatum has a new contract.
Good for him.
The Chaminade graduate, man, he's going to make a whole lot of money. And you're not going to like where Patrick Maroon ended up.
Oh.
You won't like this, John. That's all coming up next on KMOX.
Summertime is the best time to enjoy the outdoors and enhance the appearance of your home. Banner Construction can make your home the showplace of the neighborhood with maintenance-free James Hardy siding and beautiful Pella replacement windows. Drive up to your home with a renewed pride. Visit bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050. Get a free in-home design and estimate. Call 314-569-1050 and have a banner day. 314-569-1050.
At Neovitin, we are all about supporting your nutrition, and that's why we are excited about our new Neovitin Omega-3 supplement. Neovitin Omega-3 is formulated with 1,200 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids to help support healthy hearts. Our high-quality omega-3 fish oils are sourced from wild-caught fish and tested for heavy metals. With our convenient monthly subscription, you can get Neovitin Omega-3 delivered right to your door every month with no long-term obligations. Support your daily nutrition and sign up for a Neovitin Omega-3 subscription at neovitin.com today.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Do you feel like you're going through life clouded by doubt? Talk to California Psychics. Our trusted and accurate psychics are available 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers get 80% off their first reading. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-515-4402. 800-515-4402. 800-515-4402.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Rich Orris hosts the KMOX Home Improvement Show, presented by Mosby Building Arts. Saturday at 11 on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
I got my buddy, my pal, my amigo, John Hancock is with me, filling in for Amy Markscours today. I'm Chris Ranji. We will be talking to Earl Austin Jr. momentarily, in part about this man.
Tatum has been the distributor. 9 assists in the first half. Tatum sidestep three-pointer. It's good! Jason Tatum from downtown again. And a 20-point lead. It's a Boston three-pointer here down the stretch.
Jason Tatum was brilliant in the NBA Finals, and he is a champion with the Boston Celtics. And, man, he just keeps winning because, John, he has agreed to a 5-year contract extension with the Celtics for, and I mean, this number has to be intentional, $314 million. The kid from St. Louis with a 314 gets $314 million. It is a supermax contract. It officially could have been worth up to $315. So I feel like maybe that was done purposefully. It can't just be a coincidence.
314, 314?
Yep.
That can't be a coincidence. You know, he's the highest paid player now in the history of basketball. Is that right? It's the biggest contract ever signed.
That's right.
And he's not the best player in the NBA, but he's certainly among them. And he's certainly absolutely critical for what the Boston Celtics have built. But I'm surprised that it was, and it will be temporary because somebody else will sign a bigger one.
Of course.
But I do find it somewhat remarkable that Tatum is now the possessor of the largest contract in the history of the NBA. Good for him.
He's 26 years old, the 18th NBA title in the history of the franchise, and he helps them get there. 22 points, almost 8 rebounds, and 7 assists in the finals over the Dallas Mavericks. So congratulations to him, and maybe he'll donate to Chaminade they could use some money.
He is a really good all-around talent. You don't see a lot of that in professional basketball.
Thomas shoots. It's behind it.
Hey, remember that game?
I do.
Against Dallas? Game 7? Patrick Maroon buries the game winner, and guess where Patrick Maroon is going to play hockey next season, John?
Chicago.
That's right. Patrick Maroon reportedly has agreed to terms on a 1-year, $1.3 million contract with the Chicago Blackhawks. This is according to Frank Saravelli. So how's that look? How's Maroon in a Blackhawks uniform look to you?
Well, about the same as it looked in a Boston Bruin uniform last year. Another St. Louis kid who's done very well for himself. Patty Maroon's got to be 36, 7, 8 years old, somewhere 36 years old. That's late stages for a professional hockey player, and yet he keeps grinding it out. He's a really good fourth line piece for teams. He does have a little bit of scoring touch around the net. I think he was a former 20-goal scorer, not with the Blues, but before he got here. And certainly he's got elite pedigree in terms of Stanley Cup championships. He's won 3 of them. Good for the Blackhawks. And I got to tell you, Connor Bedard over there, the Blackhawks are
Rookie of the year.
A coming team. They are a coming team.
They just had, I think, the number 2 pick overall in this draft. And I don't know anything about the guy they drafted, but we'll see what they turn into. It'll be nice to see the Blues. It would be nice to see them make some inroads here. I know that we were talking a little bit about Alexander Steen as the new general manager. Who knows how we'll do? He might be really good.
Well, it's really interesting that the Blues chose to not deal their draft choices this season. A lot of speculation that they would move some of those draft picks and bring up maybe a top 6 forward. They chose not to do that. And now this team, next year will be what it will be, but this team is stocked now in the minors. And the future, I think, is pretty bright. And Alex Steen coming on as a GM in a couple of years, it's going to make for some interesting hockey talk around here.
By the way, the Blues have released their schedule, and they're going to open up the 24-25 campaign, a 3-game road trip. They will be on the West Coast, and they will start it all off against the Seattle Kraken on October 8th.
Right around the corner.
Then they've got the Sharks and the Knights in October 11th and 12th. Then they will come back to St. Louis to take on the Minnesota Wild. Their home opener will be at 6:30, October 15th at Enterprise Center.
It'll be here before you know it, Ron.
What in the world happened in that soccer thing last night?
Free kick for Uruguay after the rain of foul. De La Cruz sends it in. Turner to save. The rebound's a goal. U.S. looking at the side, hoping to see a flag come up. It's not going to come up.
Yeah, so that is the call from Fox. The United States in the Copa tournament, they lost to Uruguay. And the Fox announcers were not happy with that play, John, because apparently it should not have been a goal.
Richards, the big tackle, didn't get there in time. Yellow card, Chris Rich. Well, now we're going to keep playing on. We come the other way. Reed clears it away. But if the referee is showing a yellow card,
he's showing a yellow card and allowed him to play on. That's ridiculous.
Cannot give advantage.
It's insane. There's a man down on the ground. He's already got the yellow card out of his hand. He's giving a yellow card, and then all of a sudden turns around and lets them play on. That would have been insane if that was a goal.
Oh, so wait a minute. That was a different play, but they were mad about a yellow card.
They had the yellow card there.
They had the yellow card.
And, when they put the yellow card on
you're supposed to stop playing.
It's some big-time stuff. It's like the yellow card.
That's absurd.
We don't like the yellow card.
Anyway, the U.S. men's national...
yellow card?
Well, I'll tell you later. Right. U.S. men's national team is... Come on, man. What are we doing?
Not good.
But that goal was offside and should not have counted.
Put a yellow card on him.
It's too late now.
Oh.
Way too late. So they're out of the tournament, basically. John Hancock, why don't we talk a little basketball with Earl Austin Jr.?
Can't wait.
Yeah, we'll talk some SLU. We'll talk about Jason Tatum. We'll even ask about Bronny James with the Lakers. There's a lot of basketball stuff going on. Earl Austin Jr. joins us next on KMOX.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Thanks for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is Sarah. How can I help?
I've been thinking.
What have you been thinking about?
I decided I should declutter more often because it's an important part of a balanced and healthy life.
Have you ever noticed that 1-800-GOT-JUNK has a question mark at the end of it?
Yes, I have noticed that.
We make junk disappear.
All I have to do is point.
All you have to do is point.
Can you come right now?
We're on our way.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Broadcasting from the Underline Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
12:30, we've got sunshine. It's 86 downtown at the Arch.
This just in.
UN human rights experts say Russia has violated international law by jailing Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich. Also, inflation in the United States is slowing again after higher readings earlier this year. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says, while adding that more such evidence would be needed before the Fed would cut interest rates. More on those coming up in the news at 1. They've cleared a crash that was on 55 South at 255. That's good news. We've got emergency vehicles on 270 North at Doherty Ferry. Right lane is closed as well as the right shoulder. There's a crash on 270 North to I-70. That's got the right shoulder closed there. And the forecast for this afternoon, high of 94. For tonight, more humid, uncomfortably warm with a thunderstorm late, low 79. For tomorrow, humid with a heavy thunderstorm and a high tomorrow of about 90. Sponsored by Saks Financial, right now 86 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
When it comes to retirement, you don't need to worry or sweat the small stuff if you have Saks Financial on your side. Saks Financial, home of the Retirement Compensation Plan. SACHS, Saks Financial, because income is the outcome that matters. RetireSafeSTL.com.
Wait a little longer. Great. You may have just increased your lifetime income by tens of thousands of dollars. That's how Social Security can work for you. The longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Kyle Jones and Matt Allgaier and the team at Fire Capital Management, formerly Heisey Advisory Group, can show you the options and help make the right decisions for you and your situation. Call them today, 314-328-4400. You spent decades paying in, optimize what comes out. Kyle Jones and Matt Allgaier and the Fire Capital Management team can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. Call now, 314-328-4400. That's 314-328-4400. 4400. Firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are focusing on mental health. Joining me is Dr. Jessica Vanderland, psychologist with Siteman.
We offer a number of therapy groups for Siteman patients and their families. These are all, again, focused on cancer-related distress and issues. We also provide short-term individual therapy. Again, cancer focused.
Special thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to siteman.wustl.edu.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark scores because life is too short for boring radio. Let the excitement begin.
A lot happening in the world of basketball, NBA free agency, and man, we got the college season coming up in a few months. So it's a good time to be a basketball fan, and it's a terrific time to talk to this guy, radio analyst for the Billikens here on KMOX. Earl Austin Jr. is with us now. John Hancock and Chris Ranji, and Earl is with us on the Quiver River Electric guest line. Thanks for being with us this afternoon, Earl. How you doing?
I'm fine, John and Chris. How are you today?
Hey, we're doing okay. And, we're probably not nearly as good as Jason Tatum is doing. He's an NBA champion, and he just signed an extension, 5 years, $314 million with the Boston Celtics. So the Chaminade grad has taken his talent to the absolute extreme. That is the most money that a player can make right now, and he's going to make it.
Unbelievable, is it? And he's probably getting ready to get a gold medal too this summer. So it's going to be quite a summer. But the fact that he's done this and he's just turned 26 years old and won't turn 27 until next spring, and he's just entering the prime of his career, I think he has checked every box since being a number 3 draft choice out of Duke after 1 year of college, all NBA 3 times, NBA All-Star 5 times. And then now has led the Celtics to their record 18th world championship, and already is kind of starting to establish himself as one of the greats, all-time greats, and maybe the most storied franchise, one of the 2 in NBA history. And then to top it off, he signed this record or going to agree to this record contract. So amazing, only in your mid-20s to accomplish all of these things.
It really is remarkable, and what a talent, what a great guy. I mean, he's, you couldn't be happier for anybody than to see Jason Tatum get this contract. What is it, Earl, about his game that's so unique? He's not the most dynamic player in the league. He doesn't score the most in the league, but he's a complete player.
That's the thing. He came in the league. He's one of the best scoring players. I mean, last year he was a career high 30 points a game, and he's been a bucket since he entered the league, ever since his days at Chaminade. But I think what he's evolved into the total player, which was, I think, what made him a champion. His scoring dipped, but he's still their number one scoring option. But he literally became they're more or less their point guard throughout the playoffs. He led them in assists. He's always rebounded at a high level, and he's always done this while playing excellent defense. In the finals, he was guarding the center for Dallas, so he can guard multiple positions. He can guard Luka, the point guard, and he'll guard the center. So he can guard 1 through 5, and just evolved into the total team player, in addition to his ability to go out and get you, some of his biggest scoring nights. He said some of the biggest scoring nights in Celtics playoff history, 51 in Game 7 last year. But every part of his game has evolved, which is, I think, made him a world champion.
Still very early, very, very early. So a lot of things could change in the offseason. But Boston Celtics, the likelihood of maybe repeating here with Jason Tatum.
They put themselves in a great position to repeat because they kept all of their core together. They signed Derek White to a contract yesterday, about $30 million. Of course, they extended Porzingis and Drew Holiday during the season. And of course, Jason had the number one contract in the league now, but the best contract in the league was his own teammate, Jaylen Brown, who signed that extension last year at $304 million. Then Al Horford, I think he's not going to retire. He stays. They pretty much keep their core together, which is almost impossible to do in today's NBA, the way it's hard to keep your teams together and the agreement and all that stuff. So they put themselves in a great position, and with good health, they should have a good chance to be right back there again next year.
So the other one of the other bigger stories from the NBA is Bronny James, the son of LeBron James, being selected by the Lakers. So he's a member of that team. And LeBron willing to renegotiate his contract. He wants to opt out and then renegotiate his deal. What are your thoughts on this likelihood of these two guys, of a father and son, playing together on an NBA court?
So it's historic. We've never seen this before. And for LeBron being able to be around for 20 years at a high level, to the point where he could get a chance to play in the league with his son, not only in the league, but with the same team. Obviously, it's a remarkable story. Now, obviously, Bronny's got to chart his own path. Obviously, having LeBron James for a father doesn't hurt. But now now the work begins. He wants to chart his own path and make his own way in the NBA. But obviously, it's history when you see a father and son in the league together, kind of like Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. when they played with the Mariners, I guess, a year or two together, and they actually had back-to-back home runs at that time. But the difference, because Jr. at that time was a prodigy coming into the league, and obviously Ken Griffey was an excellent player on World Series, but had a great career as well. So yeah, it's going to be watched 24/7 every day in the NBA next year, as are the Lakers every year.
Yeah, Earl, and that's what I wanted to talk about because, you've got a new coach there. You got LeBron. Bronny, we don't know where he's going to slot in on this team, but he's going to be towards the end of the bench, you would think. Could this become a distraction for this team and the new coach who's never been a coach in the NBA?
You're in a fishbowl, so it's literally one distraction after another, because playing with the Lakers is like playing with the Cowboys or the Celtics or the Yankees. Those are the teams that are going to get all the eyeballs and everything. So there's going to be all kinds of, like I say, a first-year coach who was just coming off TV and obviously was a podcast host with the best player on the team and everything. So it's going to bring is going to be waiting to see how it turns out, especially since, the last 4 or 5 years, the Lakers have already gone through two coaches, one who actually won them a championship in 2020 in Frank Vogel, and another one who took them to the conference finals in Darvin Ham. So they bring in another one. So it's just going to be a constant scrutiny and constant attention for the Lakers. Obviously, then you bring LeBron's son into the mix there. So it's never ending as well.
The Olympics, as you mentioned, with Jason Tatum being part of the men's Olympics team, that gets started in a few weeks. The Olympics, the opening ceremonies are July 26th. And as you look historically at both men's and women's basketball from the U.S. perspective, the men haven't come in anywhere but a gold medalist since 2004. It was the last time they weren't gold medalists. For the women's team, it was 1992, the last time they didn't win the gold medal. I imagine this year will be the same, right? In 2024, both United States teams will be favored?
Both teams will be favorite. I think the women's team have been more dominant. They haven't lost a game, and they've been just crushing everybody. And it's really been, people talk about that's probably the hardest team to make in all of sports is that women's Olympic team. The men's team should be strong. There's more competition. They've had some battles along the way. In 2008, they won. It was a battle from Spain. They lost a game or two in pool play last go round, but were able to beat France for the gold medal. And I think the world is continued to get better. Canada's got a great team. It looks like, you got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was an MVP, top 3, and Jamal Murray at your starting backcourt, and a lot of good NBA players. And I think that's the thing. You got a lot of these other teams of good NBA players who've been playing together as a national team, while the NBA is kind of still putting together the best players, more of an all-star team, so it's more of an adjustment, but they'll still be the favorites. Especially we got LeBron, Steph coming back, and KD, Jason, and it should be a lot of fun, but I expect both teams to come back with the gold as well.
The great Earl Austin Jr. is our guest here on KMOX, talking a little basketball this segment. Closer to home, our St. Louis University Billikens. They've made a coaching change at the end of the season. They brought in Josh Schertz, Indiana State head coach, to run this club, and he brought a bunch of his talent with him. Early indications, what are we expecting? What are your thoughts on what is going to be a much different team this year?
It's going to be a fun team to watch. I think if folks got a chance to see Josh's Indiana State teams, especially in that run during the NIT, you saw a team that was exciting. They really shot the ball well from 3. They moved the ball. They played as a team, and it was real exciting. And I think if he brings that kind of excitement, you're going to see the Chaifetz rock again next year. And then obviously he bought 2 key pieces from that team. Robbie Avila, one of the best big men in the country, and probably one of the most famous people in college basketball with all the nicknames and notoriety, but he's a heck of a player too, as well. And Schwolp as well as a great outside shooter. You kept Gibson Jimerson, who was the leading scorer for the Billikens the last couple of years, and a great 3-point shooter as well. And you kind of worked the portal and brought in a lot of good players from a lot of different schools and some really good promising freshmen. Also, Larry Hughes and Kellen Thames staying in Billiken uniform. They have a lot of potential as well. So I'm looking forward to a good season. Lag 10 is going to be really good, but I think the Billiken will be right in the thick of it. It's going to be exciting, I think.
Yeah, you mentioned Avila, who does get a lot of attention because of the way he looks. It's a tall dude who looks, he doesn't look like he would be a really great, smooth basketball player, but he is. He wears the glasses, and it's just so he does get a lot of attention. And then the nicknames, as you mentioned. But in terms of what kind of player he really is, how surprised for those who have not watched him play yet, how surprised are they going to be by him?
Well, they're gonna see a big man who looks the part of a big man. He's 6'10", about 250, 260. But if you kind of watch Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets, you kind of get an idea of how Robbie plays. He kind of plays like a big physical point center. He can work in the low post like a big man, but he's a great passer. He handles the ball, and he can facilitate offense, and he's a tremendous outside shooter as well. So that's a kind of a weapon to have, a big man with that kind of skill set and basketball IQ. And they play off of him so much. He can cut. He finds you if you're cutting to the basket, if you're open for 3, and then he can get his own shot as well. So he's just a very skilled big man, that kind of the modern big, if you will. And I think something we really haven't seen since probably Ian Viukis, who played with the Billikens some 20 years ago. And he was from Greece, kind of a similar player, but Robbie a little more polished too, because he can really shoot it from the outside as well.
We've got with us Earl Austin Jr., St. Louis Sports Hall of Famer and SLU broadcaster. You can listen to Billikens basketball right here on KMOX this upcoming 24-25 season. Earl Austin Jr., we love talking to you. Thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, guys. Happy 4th weekend to you as well coming up.
That is Earl Austin Jr., again, radio analyst right here on KMOX, as the Billikens will they do have a good, exciting team that I'm very much looking forward to watching.
They're going to be better.
Year.
They're going to be better, and they're going to be exciting. I think that's important.
I do too, man. Really, really looking forward to that season. What's going on in basketball? And yes, the Olympics are coming up. Did you forget about this, John?
Oh no, the Olympics got the 5 rings out there.
Yeah, and they're all different colors.
They are.
Yeah. John Hancock, Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Don't miss these upcoming shows. Cody Jinks, St. Louis Music Park, August 1st. Blue October, Switchfoot and Matt Nathanson, St. Louis Music Park, August 16th. Dierks Bentley, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, August 22nd. And Billy Joel and Sting, Busch Stadium, September 27th.
For tickets and info, hit up livenation.com.
What do Donna Vogt, Janet Williams, Susan Honor, and Jonathan Erst have in common? They're just some of the best fans in baseball and winners of a pair of tickets to an upcoming game at $100 to Rawlings. Want to get in on the winning? To get entered, head to KMOX.com/contests and upload a photo of you decked out in your game day attire. The best fans in baseball, presented by KMOX and Rawlings, the mark of a pro.
Whether you're looking to fill low spots in your lawn, backfill that new retaining wall, or mulch your trees and flower beds, St. Louis Composting has the compost, soil, or mulch you need to help your plants and garden look its very best. Visit our website, stlcompost.com, for more information.
The cookie cutter approach works well if you're making cookies, but not so well when you're trying to plan for retirement. If you want a customized income strategy, call Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group today. 636-230-8824 or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-515-6608. 800-515-6608. 800-515-6608.
If you're thinking about selling your home, I'm sure there are two things that you want: certainty and the most money, right? This is Debbie Monterey, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know that the agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis's real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first call when looking for an agent. Gloria does not make empty promises. She provides written guarantees. What does that mean for you? Certainty. Certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she will buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis's real estate expert, Gloria Liu, at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
We want everyone to enjoy their 4th of July weekend, so please use a rideshare or a designated driver. A DUI will change your life. Don't drink and drive. From your friends at Odyssey and Underlaw Injury Lawyers.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgaier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Maholtra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Barry. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Transforming airwaves into an engaging playground of ideas and entertainment. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday afternoon.
It's a Chris and Amy show featuring John Hancock today.
There you go.
In for Amy, who is, I forgot where she went. Guatemala?
I thought she was in Uruguay.
Pakistan.
By the way,
It's Pakistan.
I believe we have said the nation Uruguay more on this show today than has ever been said in a radio program in the history of mankind.
They beat the men's national team.
That happened.
There was a flight to Uruguay that had the turbulence.
You got Amy down there.
Amy's down there.
So it's remarkable.
Yeah, she's been all over the place.
She has.
And I'll tell you this. Amy goes on multiple vacations a month. And every time she goes somewhere and tells me where she's going, when I say I never remember, I literally never remember.
Well, there's so many, options out there.
I only know that she's Florida.
Yeah, Panhandle of Florida.
She's in the Panhandle.
The Panhandle.
She's in the Panhandle.
What do they got in the Panhandle?
Who the hell knows?
Is that Jacksonville's in the Panhandle?
You got Fort Walton Beach. You got Destin.
all right.
Destin's
Destin.
in the
All right,
Panhandle.
okay.
Okay.
All right, fine.
Yeah, so Matt Pajeski had to remind me of it. Did you see the story from the Lake of the Ozarks, Camdenton?
Oh, love Camdenton.
Do you?
Yeah.
So, they have those restaurants that are kind of on the water, and then people dock their boats, and then they come up and eat. Well, there's one called the Fish and Company Restaurant.
The Fish and Company Restaurant.
Fish and Company.
They got a lot of fish out there.
Well, a server had a group that tried the dine-in dash.
Oh.
And she chased after them. Her name is Leanna Bertles.
Leanna Bertles.
And she went after them. One of them they were running away to go to their boat.
To avoid paying the bill at the fishing company.
It was a $150 tab.
$150 worth of fish these people ate.
Well, probably some booze.
It's incredible. Okay.
Some booze. And they grabbed her as she was chasing after them, and they threw her in the water.
They threw her in the water?
Yes.
That's horrible. Did they catch him?
Well, here's what the Camden County, Missouri Sheriff's Office says. The subject in the photo has contacted our office, cooperating with our investigation. At this time, we do not believe him to be a suspect in this case. There's video of this all happening, by the way. Thank you for the overwhelming assistance in sharing this information to help with our investigation. But these people, I hope their boat sank.
And I hope they're prosecuted
really
to
do.
the fullest extent. I hope they catch the fish thief.
They're saying that it would be a misdemeanor assault. That's how it's being treated now.
I mean, you throw her in the water like that.
Honestly, their boat should sink. And I think that is a perfectly fair retribution.
They need to be banished from the fishing company. They need to have this needs to be on their permanent record, Raj.
They believe, the authorities believe that this is an out-of-state group.
Ooh.
So would that mean that's not their boat?
Illinoisans.
Or would they have brought, come on. People in Illinois don't behave like that.
Gotta be. It's gotta be Illinoisans.
We know how to behave over there.
Well, there's some of you out there, but you got these other guys.
I think
that
it's
run away
Arkansas.
from their fish tabs.
I think it's Arkansas.
You never want to stiff a fish tab when you're out at the Lake of the Ozarks.
But again, it's probably alcohol.
Had to be catfish. I'm thinking fried catfish. Never been my particular cup of tea.
What do you like? Do you like seafood?
Oh yeah, buddy. I'm a huge what they call a connoisseur of seafood.
Really?
I can eat some right now, as a matter of fact.
I'll tell you what. Here's a thing that I can do.
Yeah.
I could probably, if you gave me crab legs, I could probably start at about 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And just continue to eat crab legs all day until 11
Those things
p.m.
are a lot of work, though.
They are.
That's the problem with the crab.
I could probably do it all day.
And
though.
if the crab had a leg like, like a substantial leg, it'd be a whole different. But there's just you got to crack the stupid thing, and then there's hardly any meat in there, and I mean it tastes good. Too much work. I don't want to work that hard.
I don't mind it.
All right.
Man, do I love crab legs.
They're good.
Woo!
I'll give you that.
They are the best.
A lot of work.
Thanks to our guests, Sanders Walker, Lisa Song, Chip Carey, Earl Austin Jr.
Wow.
Thanks to
what a great show this was.
This is come on. Come on, man. It's John Hancock. You'll be with me again tomorrow.
That's what they tell me.
Let's do it again tomorrow.
Right.
I'm Chris Ranji. Hope Amy stays away from the riptides.
Yes.
It's very dangerous down there in Florida.
Pay your fish bills out there.
Pay your fish bills. I hope your boat sinks. Have a great one. Dave Glover's next. Anything you missed on the Odyssey app, go get it.
It's amazing how people will take one look at me and they say, nah,
not this guy.
Yeah.
Is your old garage door a real clunker? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your